בשם השם נעשה ונצליח, שיעור תורה, ברוכים הבאים. Very nice to see a couple of new faces. B'ezrat Hashem, some of the older faces will show up soon. B'ezrat Hashem, today is our shiur, Wednesday night shiur in Sharei Tzion in Sunny Isles. Stump the Rabbi. You guys asked some questions, hopefully that can not only benefit you, but all of the people that watch the shiurim, Baruch Hashem, for somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million minutes per month, Baruch Hashem, that that they watch on our channels. A lot of Torah. So when you ask a question, it's not just your merit, also all the people that are watching that shiur today, tomorrow, the next day, a year from now, 5 years from now. Each time somebody gets an answer because you asked the question, you get a mitzvah, a very big one. So it's worth it to come to this shiurim, much more than just staying online if you're local. Now today's shiur will be for a refuah shlema for our dear student Batya Bat Sarah. Baruch Hashem, last night she had a baby girl. B'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give her and the tinoket a refuah shlema, refuat nefesh, refuat aguf. Also atzlacha rabba to their dear husband, our dear student Sunny Ben Avraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yivarech oto b'kol mikol kol, chaim arukim, shlemim, meleim Torah, mitzvot, gmilut chasadim. And also refuah shlema for Rav Ephraim Ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah Bat Anat, Rabbanit Levana Bat Sarah, David Ben Esri Doris Bat Jora, Dvora Bat Mercedes, Stefan Ben Katarina, and Esther Bat Tzipora. Kadosh Baruch Hu yivarech otam, chaim arukim, shlemim, meleim Torah, mitzvot, gmilut chasadim. And really the most important blessing is to see clearly that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one and only in control of everything that's happening in the world. Clarity is perhaps the most difficult item to attain in this world. And the reason why is because the Yetzer Hara works very, very hard to confuse you. And he confuses you with all types of things. And I'm going to give you, b'schut, a talmid that relatively new talmid over the last year, that he told me the story today, and he asked me to share the story. And Baruch Hashem, we both learned a lot from it. Now, the Yetzer Hara, he doesn't come to you and say, listen, I know you keep Shabbat, I know you keep Taharat Mishpacha, I know you go to shul, but why don't we go and just start killing people? He doesn't come to you that way. If you have that in your head, that's because you want to do it. It has nothing to do with the Yetzer Hara. You want to kill somebody. You're crazy. You want to kill somebody. It's not the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara doesn't come to you, no, let's kill somebody. Shomer Shabbat. Doesn't do that. What does the Yetzer Hara do? What does the Yetzer Hara do? Yetzer Hara puts a safek, a doubt in your mind. Maybe God's not watching. Just listen. You want to keep Shabbat, you don't want to drive on Shabbat? Okay, fine, don't drive. You want to, heat the food with a hot plate? Okay, no problem. But, come on, you're not going to check your phone? What, you think Hashem cares about your phone? He comes to you with something that seems small. Why? Because he wants to put a little doubt. Because once you follow that little doubt, once you follow that little tiny instructions, that minor violation, that's in Shemaim, it's an earthquake. But in your mind, it's tiny. Yetzer Hara says, now you're mine. Why? Today, Gemara Masechet Shabbat, page 108b, says, today he says kach, tomorrow he says kach, and eventually he leads him to Avodah Zarah. Today he says you do this, and you do it. The next day he says you do this, and you do it. He starts small, he eventually brings you to Christianity. Hashem Yerachem. He doesn't go to Christianity day one, little by little. He doesn't go to Buddha day one, little by little. He doesn't go and make you become an enemy of Hashem, little by little. And it all starts with a small doubt to get your mind off the goal. Now, my dear friend from California said to me this, and he says, Baruch Hashem, I had a deal lined up. A deal that was the biggest deal of his life. Right now, because of what's happening in the world with this coronavirus, people are obviously dying. A billionaire from China reported that the government is lying, and he says there's at least 1.5 million confirmed cases, which is a factor of 15,000 higher than what the government says. On top of that, he says there's at least 50,000 dead, not 800. Today, there was 9 confirmed cases in the UK, meaning it's arrived at a new country, Hashem Yachem, and it's arriving in new places every day. And really, Hashem Yishmor v'yatzil. May Hashem help us in this situation, because this is a clear as it can be rebuke from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only to the Goyim, but to Am Yisrael. It's always about Am Yisrael. Yeah, but it's in China, it's about Am Yisrael. Yeah, but it's in India, it's in Am Yisrael. Why? You are the reason why the world exists. Don't let anything fool you. Im lo briti yomam v'layla, chukot shamayim lo samti. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if it's not for my covenant being fulfilled day and night, meaning 24 hours a day, the world will cease to exist. Not like Noah, where Hashem gave them 100-year preparation, and then the whole thing took 40 days to be destroyed, and then another 11 months to recover. No. A second. If there's a second in the world, Hashem says, that there's not someone that's fulfilling my covenant, learning Torah, connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, 1 second, the atoms that spin, that make everything that we see look realistic, stop spinning. And according to science, according to anyone that knows a little bit about this, when the atoms stop spinning, it doesn't blow up. It disappears. Chukot shamayim lo samti. The laws of the world.
The laws of physics.
Right, exactly. Come over here, you can see me better with the camera. The camera, I know, is a little annoying. You can see the camera. I would sit here. I don't bite, I promise. And the spit doesn't reach that far. So now, Rabotai Karim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, I need to make sure that I tell you what is going on, what I'm thinking. Meaning, if I'm happy with you, I'll show you I'm happy. If I'm not happy with you, I'll show you I'm not happy. When you see that suddenly, when the economy is booming, when the market is booming, when everybody is in the best financial shape that we've seen since the time of Shlomo HaMelech, almost 3,000 years ago, when you see that anti-Semitism went down drastically, at least the open anti-Semitism, suddenly everything changed. Suddenly anti-Semitism increased by over 100%. Our friends in America, this is our friends, Baruch Hashem, we live here, freedom of religion. Over 50% have declared that they're anti-Semitic in a recent study. That means that over 200 million Americans openly admit they'd kill you if they had a chance. 200 million. Oh, they admitted. We're not talking about the ones that are still hiding it. Like the people that send me emails and send me phone calls. Like one guy called me 500 times. I don't pick up my phone ever because there's too many calls, Baruch Hashem. But he called me 500 times, and then he sent emails. Then finally he got a hold of my assistant. And he says, how come he doesn't call me back? So she asked me, oh, this guy, Tim, is calling you a lot of times. I said, yeah, Tim is threatening to kill me. He says I'm the Antichrist. Why would I call him back? She starts laughing. She goes, these people are so ridiculous. They actually expect a call back? I said, yeah, they get more ridiculous. Just look at the emails, what he said. I said, honestly, I didn't want to send it out because it was full of curses and things like that. I said I didn't send it out, but there's crazy people like that in the world. Lots of them. Now that's a guy is openly anti-Semitic. But there's plenty of people like him that are not open, hiding. They're sometimes more dangerous. Because at least the open one, he's your enemy. Atzileni na miyad achi, miyad Esav, Yaakov Avinu says. Save me, Hashem, save me from the hand of my brother, save me from Esav. What do you mean? Esav is my brother. So how come my brother? Why does he say double? Why does he say, save me from the hand of my brother, save me from the hand of Esav? Esav is his brother. What's the repeating? Chazal says, when it's Esav, he wants to kill you. When it's Hitler, he wants to kill you. But Yaakov says it's much more dangerous when it's Achi. What does it mean, Achi? When he's pretending to be my brother. When he's acting like, I love you, we Christians, we invest a lot of money in Israel. We love Jews. What love Jews? You love to convert Jews. You're investing in Israel because you're investing exactly. You're investing because you have an open license to missionize. You buy bodies.
So it's not really support.
There's a support. It's like Hitler. It's like Hitler feeding the people before he burns them, just to see it last a little longer.
Converting is the same like killing.
Worse than killing. Killing, at least you save the neshama, still goes to heaven. Missionizing is the worst possible thing you can do. We'll talk about that a little bit today. So anyway, Rabotai Karim, in a world that we had, everything was going good. The economy was booming. The market was booming. Everything was good. Suddenly, anti-Semitism skyrockets. All over the world, you start seeing open anti-Semitism. Average Jew, religious, not religious, starts getting beat up, murdered, all types of crazy things. Next thing you know, the market starts shaking. Over the last several months, not that I follow it, but people have told me, the volatility has increased by 50%. No one really knows why. It's gone up, but it's volatile. It's volatile because there's uncertainty. Everyone knows a crash is coming, even the ones that are invested in it. Everyone knows it's coming. They just don't know what's going to be the trigger point. And everyone knows that the next crash will make the last one in 2008 look like child's play. Why? Because the whole thing, the whole pyramid is on top of little ice cream sticks, little icicle sticks. There's really nothing holding up this whole market. The valuations don't make sense, the companies are not really doing that great anyway, and so on and so forth. Then you see the economy. You see, now certain companies were planning on going public, but now people are a little more careful. You look into their books of these companies that go public, next thing you know, they're almost declaring bankruptcy. So how come they almost did good and now they're doing really bad? Oh, we just looked at the details. Once you look at the details, you see the whole thing is just one pyramid scheme. And then you see obviously what's happened in the world as far as the agricultural situation that's happening in different parts of Africa. There's a plague of locusts that is putting tens of millions of people at risk of starvation within the next few weeks. We're not talking about within the next few months, within the next few weeks, if not less. Tens of millions of people. The plague of locusts, like we had in the same time in the Torah. Yeah. You can't stop them. They eat everything in sight. At the time of Mitzrayim, they ate the eyes of the Egyptians. Why? They ran out of crops, so they started eating eyes. Now you also see that you have a situation happening in every single major country is about to have a revolution, a civil war. India is having a major war between the Arabs and the Hindus. The Arabs had a protest just recently with over 50,000 people. The next one will probably have over 500,000. Muslim protesters are now trying to take over. Why? Because the Indians don't want them. The Hindus don't want them. So they don't want them. Something's happening. But if that's not enough, India recently said, we feel like we can destroy Pakistan in 12 minutes. Meaning they're heating up the old enemy that they have, just in case you guys think that you can take advantage of this situation that's happening inside our country. You say something, atomic bomb comes in 1 second. And the Pakistanis don't exactly like that kind of attitude. Meaning, if Pakistan shoots a BB gun at anyone in India, there's an atomic war right away, because they've been looking for a reason to fight each other. Obviously, America and Russia are just every other day there's something. The Americans themselves are fighting among each other. Everyone is for the elections and all this nonsense that's happening. The economy is shaky. You have situations that are happening in South America. People are starving. They're eating from garbage pails. Every day there are people that send pictures to me and other people of literally regular average people that had good jobs. Teachers, bankers, lawyers. Now they are going into garbage pails looking for food remains because the currency in Venezuela went down virtually 100%. It's worthless. You could buy the whole country with probably $20. The currency is non-existent. Non-existent. The only people that are surviving and even doing okay over there are people that have dollars and also some political connections. So they have some protection. Why? You can't survive there being an average teacher, or lawyer, doctor.
So things are getting worse?
Much worse. People are dying. But you have people like Ellen DeGeneres, the degenerate on television every day. She decided that it's much more important to take her millions and our friends $200 million to go save monkeys in South America. She started, her wife took $4 million of her nest egg and said, I'm going to start a foundation to save monkeys in South America.
What's wrong with the monkeys?
And now that's not enough, so a few other superstar idiots, they decide to give her another $200 million to go save monkeys.
Wow.
Instead of go take that money, go save human beings, we're going to go save monkeys. So you see the level of stupidity, Baruch Hashem, continues to go higher. If stupidity was a stock, I would be a millionaire. I'd buy it all. Because it never stop going higher. Now, you see what's happening, meaning that Hashem is in essence trying to explain to people money is not going to help you because the ones that I gave it to are not going to know how to use it. By the way, that situation in Africa that I just told you, the whole locust situation, the whole thing, which is about, at this point, last report that I saw, 60 million people are at risk of dying pretty much right now. 60 million people. That's our entire west coast of America. 60 million people are about to die if they don't get food. The whole thing could have been stopped with $11 million.
Oh.
$11 million would have, you're talking about 5 cents per person. You could have saved the whole thing.
Whoa.
Do you understand what's happened? The ones that have the money, no, it's going to go away. It's like a headache. It's going to go away by itself.
So why we're not doing that?
I'm telling you. The stupidity of people, the greed of people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Oev kesef lo yizba kesef. Someone that loves money will never be filled with money. Meaning, it's never going to be enough. Person that has a lot of money, loves money too much, and will never want to give it away. Even when they donate, they really don't donate. They donate for the sake of investment. They donate for the sake of honor. They donate for the sake of tax write-offs and so on. That's why you do not see the big places of Torah thriving. Despite the fact that there's many Jews that have a lot of money, you're not seeing those many Jews that have a lot of money open new yeshivot every day. You're still seeing the average avrech that learns day and night make $500 a month. Instead of making $5 million a month, because the world only exists because of him, he makes $500 a month and he has to pretty much go collecting to hopefully survive. It's upside down world. Upside down world. That's what's happening. And it's getting worse. Now, all of this happened, but now we had in the last month and a half or so, 2 months, we had now Kadosh Baruch Hu up the ante. You have this coronavirus that's killing people left and right. There are countless videos of simply people walking and they're just dropping dead in the middle of the street. There's no cure in sight. And there are countries that are taking the aggressive and correct measure, which is pretty much stopping travel between their country and China. Israel, El Al, no more traveling from Israel to China. France, similar thing. Russia closed the entire border, 2,700 miles. Border is shut down. America is still stupid. They're still allowing things to happen for some reason, because I guess they want people to get sick. Maybe it'll control the population to give the rich people a little more money. I have no idea why people are doing this, but Kadosh Baruch Hu is running the show. Kadosh Baruch Hu is running the show. Now, If you looked at the picture a year ago, we were living in, for people that are in the business world, for people that are in La La Land, they were everything was okay. You look at it right now, it's like as if we are about to hit the end of the world. Now, with all that being said, Rabotai, as I said last night, the only cure for all of these problems is for us to do tshuva. Now, tshuva starts with ourself. So my dear friend from California told me a story today. He said that because of this coronavirus, there was a big deal that he got himself involved in, that he was going to be able to make $1 million cash profit, him and his partner, $500,000 each. Deal has been in the works for a little while already, connecting two parties. Fantastic of a deal, peaches of a deal. One party has the need for the goods, the other party has the money. Got the money. Usually the tough part is the money. Usually the guy that has the product, he has too much of it, he can't wait to get rid of it. The money part is usually the hard part. In this case, the money was the easy part. The customer was so interested, he already sent the wire before they even signed everything. Hey, here's the money, take it. Just get me the stuff. Day of the deal, contract signed, everything is good. Day of the deal, the seller disappears off the face of the earth. Gone. No calls, no text message, no email. As if he never existed. Now this young man says to me, he says, I already had plans for what I was going to do with the money. I was going to donate, I was going to this, I was going to that, all types of wonderful things. And he says, in front of my eyes, the whole thing collapsed. In 1 second, but for no reason. Now that's like the guy said, listen, I don't have it. Or nothing happened. The guy just disappeared. And he says to me, listen, I never made a lot of money, but this was something big. But if I did not watch your lecture about your personal life, I probably would have gotten into a manic depression. But I remember what happened to you. I remember the things you said, that Hashem runs the world, and that Hashem runs the world in such a way that He's the one that gives you the blessing, and He's the one that gives something that looks like a curse. Hashem Natan, Hashem Lakach, Yishem Hashem Evurach. God gave, God took, may His name be blessed, the prophet Job says. I remember that, and I said to myself, it's all Hashem. I went home to my dear wife. I said, honey, let's have a nice dinner with a drink of wine. And I said, Baruch Hashem. But to be honest with you, Rabbi, I'll be honest with you, he says to me, it hurt a little bit. It hurt a little bit because this has changed your life. This is not it's not a millionaire talking. This is a life changer for the guy. So, but I'm happy that I had, the knowledge that I could deal with this loss. Now, hence, the loss is obvious to everyone watching, except someone that is paying attention. What's paying attention? I told him, I'm surprised he still sees it as a loss. I'm surprised. You think it's a loss while I'm talking. Surprised. Why? The world has approximately 8 billion people, give or take. The 8 billion people are not the reason for the world, but rather the 15 to 20 million Jews that live in the world, that's the chosen people. But out of the 15 to 20 million Jews that are in the world, unfortunately not all of them are fulfilling that covenant that I just mentioned. That Hashem says that if there's not for that covenant, the whole world is destroyed. How many are fulfilling it? Maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-25%. So give or take, let's say 3 to 4 million. 3 to 4 million Jews are keeping Shabbat. 3 to 4 million Jews are learning Torah. 3 to 4 million Jews are keeping, the laws to the best of their ability. The rest either don't keep anything at all, or they're empty, or they just do whatever they feel like, whenever they feel like, which means they're not keeping. So that means, Rabotai, that 8 billion people exist in the world because of those 3 to 4 million that are actually fulfilling the covenant. Which means by saying, Hashem Natan, Hashem Lakach, Yishem Hashem Avorach. Hashem, you're the one that gave me the opportunity to make a living. Hashem, you're the one that took away this particular opportunity for whatever reason you have. May your name be blessed. You, my dear friend from California, just gave HaKadosh Baruch Hu a reason to keep this world going. That time, that 3-minute recording that he sent me, that experience that he had yesterday, however long it stayed in his mind, is a very good chance, Rabotai, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm definitely not a khanfan. I'm not one of these people that kisses up to anybody, I promise you. Don't even know how to do it. There's a very good chance the world existed yesterday for a certain amount of time because of this. Why? Who knows if there was anybody else learning Torah during that time? Who knows if there was anybody else during that time? Because at that time it was late at night. Who knows if there was anybody else fulfilling the covenant? Even the religious among us, they don't always learn Torah. That means, Rabotai, that when a person is fulfilling a mitzvah of having bitachon be'Hashem, confidence in Hashem, that He is the one that's running the world through a difficulty, there is no bigger winner in the world. There's no bigger winner in the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not looking for you to be a winner when everything is pretty and everything is sunny and everything is rolling. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from us? He wants to test us constantly. We learned from this week's Parashat Yitro. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tests Am Yisrael to see if they want the Torah. We learned last week HaKadosh Baruch Hu is testing Am Yisrael to see if they want to get to Mount Sinai. We learned countless times in the Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu constantly tests us. Et Hashem Yoav, Hashem Yochiach. The ones that He loves, He will rebuke, He will test them. What does it mean He tests us? What does it mean? He sends us a little test in the mail. Oh, please fill out 1 to 10, A, B, or C. I'm going to give you a nice analogy. The B'siyat Dishmaya, I told him, and that's what worked for him, so hopefully it works for you too. When you are making a product, let's say for example, you want to make some auto product, a car, a motorcycle, or something like that. Or you're building anything. Now, before you release this product to the market, it has to go under a crash test. So you put on the wheel, and then you start smashing the wheel to see if it's falling off or not. Oh, it's not falling off? Okay, let's keep going. You put on the door, and then you smash the door a few times, not like you would if you actually owned the car, but now you want to smash the door a few times just to see, is it going to break under pressure? Oh, it didn't break. Okay, let's move on to the next step. You put on the windshield, and you tell a few guys, listen guys, throw a few balls at this windshield. Yeah, but it's going to break. Yeah, that's the point. I want to see, is it going to break? How much pressure can it take before it breaks? And they start smashing this windshield to see how much pressure can it handle. And how much pressure can the tires handle? And how much pressure can the door handle? And how much pressure can the engine handle? Smash on the gas pedal and don't let go. Yeah, but the engine's going to burn. Yeah, let it burn. I want to see how long it can take it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does that with us every single day. Why? Before He sends us to market, before He says to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, hey, that's your grandson Avraham, look at him. Look at him. He's not going to present you as a Chiloni Mechalel Shabbat that eats taref on Yom Kippur. No, He's going to send you, He's going to test you, He's going to do all types of things to get you to a point where you realize En od milvado, there's nothing else but Him. You have to understand there's nothing else but me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. So you think there's something else other than me? Okay, you go through life 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years without me. Let's see how you make it. Let's see how you make it. Well, you made some money? Okay, now you lost it. Now let's see how you make it next. Oh, you want to try to make it again? Okay, I'll give it to you again. And you lose it again. Oh, you got married to a person you're not supposed to be married to? Okay, now you're going to get divorced. And you try all the other stuff that's against the Shem and it all goes bad. Everything goes bad. Eventually you get put in a position where you realize everything I tried for 50, 60 years went bad. Hopefully you realize sooner. But many times you realize when you're 50, 60 years old, you're already used to sinning left and right. And you realize, what else do I have in this world? The wife doesn't want to talk to me. The kids have abandoned me. No one wants to hire me. I'm sick now. I'm this, I'm that. What else do I have? You start looking up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you still want me back? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says with open arms, my son, come. I've been waiting for you for 3,300 years. Now you do tshuva. What's tshuva? You start keeping. You learn. You come to the rabbi. You say, Rabbi, what should I do? Rabbi says, if he's a normal rabbi, you have to start keeping Shabbat. You have to start keeping kashrut. You have to start learning every day a little bit, 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour, and so on and so forth. You start changing your life. That's what tshuva is. Tshuva is not just, oh, listen, I'm going to keep Shabbat and eat chulent, and that's why I'm finished. Tshuva, first and foremost, you have to start learning Torah every day. A certain amount of time every day. I started with 15 minutes a day. That's how I started. That's what I knew for sure I could commit. That every day I could do it. Baruch Hashem, over time it increased. Once I started learning, I said, what, am I just going to learn for no reason? I got to do some of this stuff. So you learn, and you realize, okay, so I got to start doing some of the stuff I'm learning about. God's real. I started doing it. You start applying the things that you learn. I learned one day, you're not supposed to be angry. I said, this is a chidush. What do you mean not supposed to be angry? I was born angry. What do you mean not supposed to be angry? I'm only angry when people make me angry. He says, yeah. My rabbi says, yeah, if you're angry without people making you angry, then we have to put you in a mental institution. We're talking about you're not supposed to be angry even when people make you angry. I said, how is that possible? He said, exactly, keep learning. Keep learning. When you understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's sending people to make you angry, then you realize, why am I angry? Why am I angry? He's the one that's sending me the people to get me angry. Why am I angry? It's Hashem. It's not him, it's Hashem. When Shimi ben Gera came to David HaMelech, cursed him out in front of everybody, the general of David says, let me chop this dog's head off that's cursing my master. David HaMelech says, Chas v'shalom, he's not cursing me, Hashem is. Hashem is the one that sent him. Hashem allowed him to curse me and embarrass me in front of everybody else. Chazal says, at that moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to David HaMelech, now you passed the test, now you're going to be the fourth one, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and David, that carry the Shekhinah. That was David HaMelech's dream. He always wanted to be the fourth one. Hashem says, now you passed the test. Now that you realized that everything comes from me, now you're going to be number 4. So when a person realizes, okay, I'm not allowed to be angry, how could I stop being angry all of a sudden? It's not going to happen all of a sudden. It takes time. You got to learn. You got to do all these different things, start applying them. Improve your character traits. If you have a problem where you're stingy, you have to start becoming more generous. How could I become more generous if I'm stingy my whole life? The Rambam says, take a certain amount of money that you can get rid of, that you can handle giving out. Okay, you get $100? Okay, take the $100, divide it by 100. How much is that? $1, right? Okay, take $1, give it to one person. Take another dollar, give it to another person. Give $1 to another person. 100 people. Instead of giving the $100 to one person, give the $100 one at a time to different people. Why? Once you start getting yourself used to giving, little by little you'll defeat this evil inclination, this yetzer hara that you have that makes you stingy, and you're going to want to give larger amounts. In reality, you're not going to help anybody with the $1 except yourself. And that's the point in the beginning. If you have this addiction to money and you're stingy. If you're an arrogant person, you have a problem with arrogance, you think you're better than everybody else, just remember, no matter if you have a white car, or you have a red car, or you have a Ferrari, or you have a Lamborghini, or you have a Bentley, or you have all these fancy cars, at the end, everybody uses the same black car to go to the grave. Chava Kadisha. No matter what kind of car you drive in your life, during the end, everybody uses the black car to take the body to the grave. Think about one day, that's what's going to happen to you also. Like me, everybody's going to die. What are you so arrogant about? You're going to be lunch one day for maggots. What's so arrogant about that? What is there to be proud of? All the money that you have is not coming with you to the grave. All the wisdom you have is not coming with you to the grave. Nothing's coming with you to the grave. And where did you come from? You came from nothing. You came from some putrid seed. You came from filth. Anyone that sees filth anywhere, they ichsa. What is this? Clean this stuff up. That's where you came from. That's where I came from. What are you so proud of? What are you so arrogant about? Oh, I'm really smart. Who gave you the wisdom? You made yourself smart? Yeah, I studied. Who gave you the brain to study? Meaning, in reality, what did you do by yourself? Nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you everything. So you have a problem with arrogance, you start realizing where you came from, where you're going, and in reality what you've attained, you realize that there's absolutely nothing for you to be proud of. Nothing. Now, each one of the character flaws has a solution. That is one of the main jobs that a person has, one of the main purposes that a person has in this world, and that's how he's supposed to use the Torah. It's not just about learning, having a bunch of stories, telling people stories, but nothing changes for you. You have to learn the Torah, you have to learn the laws, you have to apply the laws to your life and use them to fix yourself. That's what Teshuvah is. That's what Teshuvah is. So when a person starts doing Teshuvah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does the unexpected many times. Why? He thinks that I'm going to do Teshuvah, she thinks I'm going to do Teshuvah, so suddenly my life is going to turn to heaven. Right? I'm doing what Hashem wants after all, so why wouldn't Hashem make me win the lottery once or twice? Why, if I'm doing Teshuvah now I'm a tzaddik, I have a kippah on, I keep Shabbat, to the best that I can, I eat kosher, why wouldn't Hashem send me a shidduch? Why wouldn't Hashem send me a bunch of money? Why wouldn't Hashem make me the greatest, Moshe Rabbeinu? I want to be Moshe Rabbeinu, why can't He make me Moshe Rabbeinu? Instead, Hashem sends the person tests. Test after test after test after test. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, and very, very important, when Hashem sees that the Teshuvah is real, He says, my dear son, my dear daughter is doing Teshuvah, she's getting closer to me, but the problem is she made some sins in the past, before she did Teshuvah. Meaning there's an outstanding bill. Now there's only two ways of paying for that outstanding bill for those sins. Either in this world or the next world. Either in this world where there's suffering, or there's the next world where there's suffering. The problem is that the Ramban says in the opening to the book of Job that if someone would have all of the suffering that Job had, not for 1 year like Job, but for 70 years, meaning his entire life. What is his suffering? All 10 of his kids died in 1 day. The $1 billion that he had went to zero in 1 day. His body that was fully healthy in 1 day became the sickest body on earth. Every disease under the sun, tzarat, all types of things. The maggots started coming out of his body. That's how sick he was. Everything collapsed in 24 hours, or 48 hours if you will. The Ramban, 850 years ago, says if somebody had this for the whole life, that's not even a moment in Gehenom for a sinner that goes against Hashem. So that means that if you can not go to Gehenom, you can avoid going to Gehenom. When you understand what it is, you do whatever you can. That's what the Ramban is trying to tell us. So Hashem says, I love you so much, now that you're back at home, now that you're coming back to me, you're getting closer to me, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a present. I'm going to start paying your bill for Gehenom. How? I'm going to give you a little bit of suffering. So instead of going, let's say, you made a sin. So instead of going, let's say, Gehenom for 5 years, or for this one particular sin, not all the sins, for this one sin, instead of going to Gehenom for 5 years, or 500 years, you know what I'm going to do? $10,000 that you were supposed to get, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You were supposed to get $10,000 from that client, the client reneged on the trade. He doesn't want to give it to you. And you're going, man, I can't believe it. But you don't realize that $10,000 just saved you 500 years in Gehenom. Now, remember that one time you made a sin and you called somebody a name? Now that deserves a lot of Gehenom. That's a big, big problem. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do for you, Hashem says? I'm going to do you a big favor. I'm going to make your wife, instead of she says good morning, she says, I can't wait to not see your face today. I don't know, she woke up Tisha B'Av. She doesn't even know why she's upset at you. She can't wait to not see you. She says, listen, maybe you should stay at work tonight. And you get so offended the whole day you're thinking about it. You're upset. But you don't realize, in Shemayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I know he's upset. Baruch Hashem, he's upset. I'm so happy he's upset. That he's suffering. Why? The more he's upset about this, that he's suffering over this, the more I'm taking off of his account in Gehenom. So that one day of being upset, at the end of the day, your wife says, I'm sorry, honey, I love you, I love you, I love you, everything is good. But now you paid the bill for another 1,000 years of Gehenom, for that one sin. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu does all types of things. You go to one day, you wake up in the morning, you have a very, very important meeting. This meeting is $1 million meeting. You want to be on time, you want to be early. So now you put on your suit, you put on your tie, you put on everything, and you're starting to, honey, good morning, okay, I gotta go, and you're ready to go to the door because you gotta get early to this meeting. Everything's on the line for this meeting. All of a sudden, one of your little monster kids comes, Abba, Ima, and they start running at you with some drink of some paint or something in their hand, and as they're hugging you, they're also spilling a new color on your beautiful white shirt. And you regret you even had the kid that moment. You're like, oh man, this kid, I can't believe him. You don't want the hug, you don't want the kiss, you don't want anything. You want to go to work, and now you have to go back to the closet, back to the shower, back to everything, to go get dressed. Most likely you're going to end up being late. You know why that happened? The Malach HaMavet went to Hashem and he says, Hashem, you remember what you said in the Torah, right? You said, someone's a Mechalel Shabbat, Mot Yumad. You're supposed to kill the guy. This guy, 5 years ago, he drove on Shabbat, Hashem. It's death penalty. Death penalty, Hashem. He says, okay, Malach HaMavet, I'll do something else for him. I'll send his son to make him feel like death. He's going to lose that contract. He's going to be late to the meeting. You were supposed to die the next day. You don't realize that. You're upset. In reality, you should be dancing in the streets. You should be kissing your son, lifting him in the air. Thank you, my dear son. Thank you, my dear son. You just saved my life. When a person understands that all of the suffering he has in this world is mamash presence from Hashem, he takes them differently. That's the first reason why Hashem gives people suffering. The second reason, Rabotai Yekarim, is related to the analogy that we gave, which is Hashem is testing us. Hashem is testing us. You just started doing tshuva, so Hashem says, I want to see if this tshuva that he or she is doing, I want to see if it's real. So you started keeping Shabbat. Okay, so you know what Hashem's going to do? Hashem is going to send you some guests unexpectedly on Shabbat that are not exactly the best guests. The wife shows up half naked, the husband smells like something that came from a farm, and they decide to park in your house the whole day and have a brawl in front of you with each other. Ruin your entire Shabbat. Hashem is shaking your Shabbat. He wants to see, do you really like Shabbat? Are you going to violate Shabbat? Are you going to lose your mind, get in the car, go to the movies instead of keeping Shabbat? He's shaking you. He wants to see if it's working. He put on the tire, he wants to see if it's working, so he's kicking the tire a few times. Okay, you passed the test, no problem. Next Shabbat he gives you another test. All of a sudden, okay honey, I just came back from Bet Knesset, Shabbat Shalom. But you look at your wife and she's crying. What happened, honey? What happened? I forgot to put the food on the hot plate. I forgot to put the food on the hot plate. It's all cold like ice. And you are hungry, you're about to eat one of the kids. But what are you going to do? Hashem says, I'm testing you. I want to see if the steering wheel works. So what are you going to do? You're going to turn it all the way. He's testing you. He's pushing. I want to see what happens. You lose your mind, fail the test. You say, honey, I have you. That's already enough. Let's eat some cakes. Have some coffee. Who cares? What, Shabbat only about food? What, do we become cows? Okay, if there's food, Baruch Hashem. No food, no problem. We have the wine, we do kiddush, we eat some cake, Baruch Hashem, Yishtabach Shem Olad. You pass the test, Hashem says, okay, next part, we're going to put the windshield on. Gives you another test. But each time you pass the test, he gives you something. gives you a little present. On Monday morning you show up to work, he gives you a little raise. On Tuesday you show up and somebody calls you, never thought that this guy's actually going to do business with you. On Tuesday your wife says, I'm pregnant, honey, I love you. On Wednesday one of your kids comes home with a good grade from school. On Friday your father says, listen, I hear you go to the Shiur Torah, can I come with you? All of a sudden somebody wants to do tshuva. But you're not paying attention, you're thinking this stuff is supposed to happen. No, it's because you're passing the tests. Each time you pass a test, Hashem gives you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. You fail, you got to take a test again until you pass. This is why, Rabotai, when a person understands that all of the suffering, all of the difficulties are coming from Hashem to the extent where $1 million was lost for no reason, meaning in this world reason, all the reasons in the world for Hashem. Someone that has bitachon says, Baruch Hashem. That's where we all have to aspire to. Why? Because the moment you fulfill that, whether it's on Shabbat, or it's on a Tuesday, or it's on any day, for any problem, it doesn't have to be for $1 million, for any problem, you say, Baruch Hashem for this problem, the world exists for you. Keep going. Keep pushing. And B'ezrat Hashem, the rest of us will continue benefiting as a result of each one of us getting closer and closer to Hashem. So with that being said, Rabotai, please, hopefully you guys have enough time to think about some questions. Bechavod, who wants to start? Ari, you have a question?
Yes. So there's Yetzer Hara, there's a Yetzer Tov.
Okay.
And does it work the same way? Small c. Why don't you just keep kosher this time?
Right.
Or wash your hands.
How does the Yetzer Hara versus the Yetzer Tov work?
The same way.
We
just, just suggestions.
So the Yetzer Hara is something that a person was born with. The Rabbi Natan has a whole Mishnah, Bereta, about this specific issue. He says that the Yetzer Hara is, in essence, born with the person. And Chachamim say that's because how did the Yetzer Hara enter the person's neshama? How did he enter the body? Because initially, at the time of Adam v'Chava, the Yetzer Hara was external. It was the serpent. So how did he enter? The Zohar Kadosh says that in Parashat Bereshit, Zohar Kadosh says that the reason why the Nachash, the serpent, enticed Chava, enticed Eve to eat the apple, or the forbidden fruit, not apple, I'm a Christian, eat the forbidden tree of knowledge, is because he wanted her to give it to Adam, so Hashem would kill him, and then he could be with her, intimately. Because the Nachash looked differently than the Nachash looks today. He had arms and legs, and he was very, very beautiful. He was the most beautiful animal in the kingdom. He was able to speak. He was the king of all the animals, but became the biggest loser of all as a result. So he wanted to be with the woman. So he said, if she gives it to him, Hashem said he's going to kill him. Hashem said he's going to kill him, so then I can be with her. So after that failed, the whole thing failed, the Nachash raped her. The serpent raped Chava, and the seed entered Chava, and that's how the Yetzer Hara, in essence, entered everyone today. Now, this Yetzer Hara, you're born with it. Now, what's the difference between someone that's born or 5 years old versus 35 years old? 5 years old, he didn't kill anybody. At 35 years old, he killed someone. Does that mean that his Yetzer Hara got worse? No. It was the same Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara didn't get worse. It's just that at 5 years old, he didn't have a chance to kill anybody yet. He didn't get a gun yet. And he never controlled the Yetzer Hara. He never learned anything. He never did anything to take this Yetzer Hara and put it under control. So the moment when he was 35, 40 years old, that he had somebody got him really upset, he let that Yetzer Hara loose. The Yetzer Tov is something that the person gets at their, if it's a girl at 12 and the boy at 13, at the bar mitzvah or the bat mitzvah. Now, this Yetzer HaTov needs mitzvot in order to have power. The more mitzvot a person makes, the more fuel they're giving this Yetzer HaTov to overcome the Yetzer Hara. Without mitzvot, without learning Torah, without eating kosher, without keeping Shabbat, the Yetzer HaTov is simply numb. He cannot do anything. He cannot be anything. He's simply in a coma. He's in a coma. He cannot do. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, but there's plenty of people that are don't keep mitzvot, but they do good things once in a while. How do you know they're good? No, why? He fed a few homeless people. Every day he gives a few homeless people $20, $30. Who says that's good? What if that homeless person really is the Yetzer Hara? Meaning, he's feeding that homeless guy because he wants the girl to look at him, says, oh, why, he's so kind. He's not doing it for mitzvah. He's doing it just because so some girl says, oh wow, you're such a nice guy. And that homeless guy is really going to kill somebody later on. Point being, Rabotai, without Torah, there's no knowing of whether you're even capable of doing any good. Why? Because without Torah, you do not know the definition of good. You define good based on your own understanding. And your own understanding is limited. Meaning...
So you build your Yetzer HaTov? It's up to you to build.
100%. When you define good to yourself, you're going to say, I think that I'm a good person. Okay, so what makes you a good person? Well, I'm generous. Oh, what are you generous about? Oh, I use money, my money, to donate to save monkeys, like Ellen DeGenerate. Well, that actually doesn't make you good. That actually makes you evil. Why? If you took your money and you gave it to go feed monkeys instead of go feed human beings, you're an evil person. There's actually very few people more evil than you. Why? Because there are people starving, but you choose to go feed monkeys. There's something wrong with you. Oh, you think it's good. You think it's a mitzvah. Oh, no. I'm a good person because I never killed nobody. The cow didn't kill anybody either. Does that make it a good cow? She's going to heaven because she didn't kill anybody? You didn't kill anybody because you didn't have an opportunity to kill anybody. Not because you're a good person. Every murderer was at one point not a murderer. You know, if you see the baby picture of Adolf Hitler, he was a very cute baby. If I told you, listen, this baby is going to end up killing tens of millions of people, would you kill him? When he grows up, this baby, he's going to kill tens of millions of people. Would you kill the baby?
You're not allowed to, right? Until he does it.
I'm asking you, would you or not? I'm not asking you what you're allowed or not.
In the past?
I'm telling you for sure, guaranteed. I'm Moshe Rabbeinu for a second. I'm telling you prophecy. This guy, I'm showing you a whole movie. This guy ends up growing a little stupid mustache and kills tens of millions of people. But right now, he's a little baby. Do you kill him or not? Okay, we got one guy says he's going to kill him. What about you? You're going to stay silent like Job. You're like Job. You want to be quiet.
I'm sure, because doesn't Hashem have to...
Don't ask me questions. Don't be Jewish right now. Be a normal person. I want you guys to give me an answer. You killed a baby or no? Baby's going to kill tens of millions of people, including your parents, including your cousins, including your aunts and uncles, including your grandfather, including the biggest tzaddikim in the world. You kill this baby or no?
No, I'm not sure.
Why not?
Yes,
What's the matter with you people?
Because you don't know if he's going to do it.
I just told you he's going to do it. Is one guy that's awake?
You went in a time machine and you can kill Hitler. Would you kill him? Yeah.
No,
like
yeah,
that?
In a time machine.
but Hashem didn't punish
No, in a
Ishmael
time
until he
machine.
until
Are you Hashem?
No.
I'm telling you the guy's going to kill.
DeLorean.
If Hashem told me, yeah. If Hashem told me, look, this guy's going to kill him. But there's a story in the Chumash about that. That you can't kill someone unless he does.
God didn't kill someone. God didn't kill someone.
Isn't there something?
Okay, I'm going to give you a source. I'm going to give you a source. So you don't think it's my opinion to kill the baby. Because if it's my opinion to kill the baby, you're going to have 5,000 messages. Rabbi is the baby killer. I'm going to give you a source from the Torah. Why are you supposed to kill the baby? Torah says there's a wayward child, ben sorer umoreh. This child is not 13 years old yet, meaning he's not bar mitzvah, he's not obligated to do mitzvot yet. If he eats pork, it's not a sin. He shouldn't eat pork, but if he eats it, it's not a sin. If he turns on the light on Shabbat, it's not a sin. He shouldn't do it, but it's not a sin. But this wayward child becomes an alcoholic, starts drinking wine non-stop and eats meat. The parents rebuke him. He says, go fly a kite, parents. I'm not going to listen to you. They try once, twice, doesn't work out. Torah, Chumash. It's in the Chumash. The parents bring this boy, this 8-year-old kid, 9-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, whatever age, but before Bar Mitzvah. Bring him to the rabbis, bring him to the Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin says death penalty. They kill the kid. Why? But he's not obligated. Oh, it's better we kill him now since he's already developed an addiction to bad stuff. It's better we kill him now because at least now he's in essence innocent. He won't go to Gehenom for this. Whereas if we just let this kid develop, he's going to end up robbing his parents, most likely killing his parents and torturing the entire community. When you see this is the pattern that the kid's going, doesn't want to listen to nobody, he's an alcoholic, he's a drug addict, he's a mess, Torah says you kill him. Now obviously this is not something we practice, and even in the Gemara they says there's a good chance this may have never actually happened, but if it did, this is what would actually happen. Meaning this is the law. If you know there's a kid, for sure, we don't know this is a hypothetical scenario. You know that this baby is going to grow up to be a Hitler, you are obligated to kill him. If not, you are the murderer of 6 million Jews. Everything has to have a Torah source, not an opinion. We don't work with our heart. But I wanted to work with your heart for a little bit, just to see what you guys are going to say. Now, this Yetzer Hara is going to tell you, are you crazy? You're going to kill a baby? What are you, a psycho? What's the matter with you? Yetzer Hara says, what are you, a murderer all of a sudden? Yetzer Hara is going to tell you, are you going to be a murderer? The Yetzer Tov says, listen, murder, no murder. Look at what the Torah says. Look at what Torah says. Don't use your mind, don't use your heart, use the Torah. That's an instruction set from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the King of Kings. That's the only one that is allowed to define good. Meaning, if you kill an innocent baby, didn't do nothing, not projected to do nothing, everything is good, you're a murderer. You have a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you have, and you decide on to have an abortion. You are 100% a murderer. In Shamayim, you show up to Shamayim, Shomer Shabbat, Shomer Mitzvot. I'm going to Gan Eden, right Hashem? Hashem says you're going to Gehenom for thousands of years. Why? You killed 3 babies. Well, Hashem, I had 5 kids. Yeah, you had 5 kids, but you also had 3 abortions. Because you weren't ready for another kid. It's murder. 100% murder. Yeah, but it was only the 3rd month. Okay, it's murder. But it's only the 2nd month. Murder. It's murder. So now, a person thinks he's not a murderer, shows up to Shamayim to murder. So what does he do? Any woman, any guy knows that they were part of a abortion, you have to do tshuva for it while you're in this world. Don't wait to go up there. Don't go up there as a murderer. I promise you it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So a person has to understand there's a time that you're obligated to be a murderer and there's a time you're not allowed to be a murderer. And the only way you're going to know the difference between right and wrong is if you look in the Torah. You look in the Torah, right? Because the Torah is going to tell you, at this point, you're obligated to murder. Why? It's war. In war, you're not allowed to be merciful. You're not allowed to be merciful. If you're merciful, if you're afraid, you're not allowed to go to war. That's a law in the Torah. Torah says, if you are afraid, stay home. Why? You're going to get the rest of us killed. Enemy shows up, you're a gunshot, you're like a deer in headlights. Okay, guess what? Other people are going to die because you're a little girl. Stay home. You just got married, stay home. You just built a house, stay home. Why? If you just got married, you're going to think about the girl at home. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, is she going to wait for me? Stay home. Stay home. You just got married first year, stay home. Just build a house, stay home. Why? What if you are thinking about the house You end up dying, and it's going to be too much suffering for your neshama to see somebody else living in the house that you built. Meaning, if you're going to go to war according to the Torah, you have to be a warrior, not just physically, spiritually. Only tzaddikim were allowed to go to war. David HaMelech, his rule in his army was if you spoke by accident, spoke one time between the time, and didn't do tshuva, between the time that you put the tefillin of the head and the arm. You spoke one time, somebody came in, he said, hey Joe, how are you? You did that one time? Don't go to war, not allowed to go to war. Why? You're probably going to die and somebody else is going to die because of you. Well, you have a sin. Yeah, but it was an accident. An accident's too much already, David HaMelech says. Which means, who were the soldiers of David HaMelech? Tzadikim Gmurim. Full tzadikim. No sins. That's why they never died. But when one person has a flaw, other people suffer also. So now, how are you going to know when you're allowed to murder? In a war, you're obligated to. But when it's not a war, and it's just because you have no emunah that Hashem is going to feed the kid, or you or your wife, and you're not ready to have a kid, that you're not allowed. Not allowed. But then again, what if the kid, the woman has a major difficulty? Chas v'shalom, lo aleinu, lo alechem. And now the doctors say, listen, I'm sorry ma'am, it's either you or the kid. You're obligated to kill the kid. Not allowed to kill the mother. Yeah, but it's a beautiful kid. Not allowed to kill the mother. If the kid puts the mom at life risk, you have to terminate.
Why?
Because the mother is the priority. The mother is the priority. So that means, Rabotai, to know these little intricate details, do you know how many years and years of toiling our sages have done to get to know good and bad? So when someone disagrees with the sages, no, I don't agree with the Rambam, I don't agree with Rabbi Yosef Karo, I don't agree with the Rav Ovadia, it's, people have no idea what they're dealing with. You're dealing with fire, because to get to know what's good and bad to you seems easy because you're getting it on a silver platter. But in reality, to know the difference between good and bad is decades, and in some cases, some of the answers, the Gemara says there were debates for over 200 years to get to the actual answer. So the Yetzer Atov is only going to have the ability to see good for what it really is if you feed it Torah. The Yetzer Hara already has a boost without. Which means the only way the Yetzer Hara gets under control is if the Yetzer Tov gets power.
And you have to build it.
Without the Yetzer Tov getting power, Yetzer Hara is in full control.
So let me tell you something.
Okay.
That Holocaust survivor
Okay?
had his bar mitzvah at 80 years old.
Baruch Hashem.
Does that mean that the Yetzer Tov didn't start until 80?
No. Yetzer Tov starts at an actual age, 13 years age. Yeah. Doesn't matter if he had a bar mitzvah or not.
So what happened was,
It's just that his Yetzer Tov was in a coma for 67 years.
Okay, so the reason why I mentioned that is because shortly after, his daughter died.
Okay.
And then
Shem Yachem.
his wife.
Then his wife, yeah.
And then he had a stroke. All in one, like, very, very short time.
No.
Now he doesn't believe in Hashem. Or he's angry with Hashem, or whatever.
Right.
How does he come back to tshuva after such a traumatic thing?
Listen to
Holocaust, the whole thing, his family.
Holocaust, then his wife dies, then his daughter, then
good.
Parnasah is very good. Okay. There's a pasuk in the Torah. Parashat Vayetchanan. One before, last pasuk. Meshalem el sonav el panav le'avido. HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays his haters cash to their face to destroy them. Meaning, who are these haters? Who are these haters of Hashem? We're going to find out from this week's parasha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in this week's parasha something fantastic that every person needs to know and have this in your front of your mind at all times, because you're going to know exactly who Hashem thinks is good and who Hashem says is my enemy. This is chapter 20, verse number 5. לא תשתחווה להם ולא תעבדם, כי אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך, אל קנה פוקד עוון אבות על בנים, על שילשים ועל ריבנים לשונאי. ועושה חסד לאלפים לאוהבי לשומרי מצוותיי. So in chapter 20, verse number 5 and 6, Hashem says, I am a jealous God who visits the sins of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generation for my enemies. Who are these enemies? But who shows kindness for thousands of generations to those who love me and observe my commandments. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu defines clearly who are his lovers and who are his enemies. He says, my lovers are the ones that keep my mitzvot. My enemies are the ones that don't. So which means that your friend at 80 years old that didn't keep Shabbat, didn't keep Torah, didn't keep mitzvot, did not know that he was God's enemy for a long, long time. Now, when he started, he did his bar mitzvah at 80 years old, kol hakavod, he was going in the right direction. He was going in the right direction. But now he got some tests.
It was a surprise.
He got some tests, and he got a shell shock, and lo aleinu lo alechem that you would get such tests. But the point is that he got shaken up. But in reality, Hashem says, listen, there was many crimes that you made in the last 80 years. You are my enemy, and now I'm accepting you back. But you have to understand that there's still a bill due. It's not like the bill goes away just because you stopped sinning. If you shot somebody and killed him, even if you say I'm sorry, it doesn't fix the death. He's still dead, even if you said I'm sorry 1,000 times. If you violated Shabbat for 80 years, and you say, I'm sorry, okay, I'm going to do tshuva, okay, it doesn't necessarily automatically fix the last 80 years. There's still something there. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you don't keep my mitzvot, you are my enemy. Now, why does the enemy get a lot of money many times? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in Parashat Vayetchanan that those that are my enemies, I pay them cash to their face. Why cash to their face? To destroy them. Meaning, if someone chooses to be an enemy of Hashem, Hashem says at some point in their life they do things good even if they don't mean it. They take a little bit of money and they give it to a homeless guy. They take some money and they give it to yeshiva. They say thank you to someone. They do some stuff that are good just because. Hashem says that good, whether he meant it or not, I'm still going to reward him for it. But I can't reward him in Gan Eden. He's not going to go to Gan Eden. He's my enemy. So I have to reward him in this world. So he gave some homeless guy $100? Okay, I'll give him a hotel. Oh, he said thank you to that woman to make her feel good? Okay, I'm going to give him a kid. Oh, he said he did this mitzvah, he put on tefillin once in his life? Okay, I'll give him another building. I'll give him a car. I'll give him a good wife. I'll give him all. Hashem gives the guy a bunch of things in his world. Why? He has to give him all the reward just in this world. Because as soon as he's finished, he's finished. So, the fact that he got a lot of parnasah when he wasn't keeping mitzvot is a horrible sign. It's a horrible sign. The fact that he was starting to go on the right track is good, but then he fell off, he's back on the horrible side. Now it's very, very hard to change at 80 years old. It's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. But I could assure you that at some point, hopefully before it's too late, he'll realize that he's wrong. Hopefully before it's not too late. Only way to do it is to explain to him by sending him this shiur, the first half hour that we spoke, hour, whatever it was, of why does a person get tests when he just starts getting closer to Hashem. Once, he probably never heard this explanation. He thought that once he does tshuva, puts on tefillin, everything is supposed to magically go well for him.
I know the bar mitzvah was a surprise actually. He didn't even know.
Oh, so it wasn't even intentional. So point is that he has to understand that Hashem doesn't owe you anything. Hashem doesn't work for you and he doesn't dance to your tune. If you've gone against Hashem for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and all of a sudden you decide to stop, that doesn't mean that Hashem owes you anything, because you're still in debt. When a person understands the magnitude of sin, he simply lives life differently. I'll give you something that I heard today from Rav Kaufman, from Eretz Yisrael. He says, the Bet HaLevi, we did a whole series of bitachon about him. The Bet HaLevi, every day, he would take a candle, it was a fire, he would put his fingers in it, and take it out, every day, his whole life. Towards the end of his life, his hands, his fingers simply became burned. Lost the ability to function. Someone asked, why? Why do you burn your fingers? He says, I want to already get into my mind what it's going to feel like to be in Gehenom. I want to know already now. I want to have it in my mind just in case the Yetzer Hara shows up and tells me to go do this and go do that and go do this. I already felt Gehenom today. No interest. And I know the Gemara Masechet Brachot says that the fire in this world, the best fire, highest fire, most powerful fire, is less than a 60th of the power of the lowest fire in Gehenom. So the Bet HaLevi that understood what sin is says, I'm going to take a fire, I'm going to burn my finger a little bit just to have a reminder the whole day it's going to hurt. The whole day it's going to hurt, this finger that you burnt. That's going to remind me it's good to have a little burning here than a lot of burning over there. So a person understands Hashem runs the world. Hashem has reward and punishment. Hashem does not want to punish you. But when He punishes you, it's because you gave Him no choice. When a person understands this, and also understands that this world is limited, and whatever you do here is limited, all the money you have here can only be used here, you cannot take it anywhere else. All of the honor you have here, you cannot take with you anywhere else. No one cares if you were a CEO of anything in Shemaim. No one cares if you invented the iPhone or the iPad. No one cares if you're a movie producer or a president of a country. The only thing they care about in heaven is whether you fulfilled the Torah or went against it. That's the only thing that matters. When a person understands this basic principle of Judaism, called reward and punishment, they change. They change. Why? Because now they know that everything has a price, including the sins. Next question.
But if we learn that the wicked people prosper in this world to be destroyed in the next world, and the righteous people suffer in this world to have the next world, why do we see that now and even historically there have been Jews or people that don't keep the Torah and don't have this world, and people who do keep the Torah and have this world as well?
I never said that the righteous people suffer in this world. You said that. There are some righteous people that do have a fantastic material success in this world. One of the examples was Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was very, very wealthy. Another example is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva at one point was a poor person that was cleaning the horses of Kalba Savua. But years later, after he became Rabbi Akiva, he actually got wealth from several different places and became the richest man in the world. Another example is Shlomo HaMelech, David HaMelech, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, Rebbe HaKadosh. There have been many tzaddikim that have been very successful. So just because a person is tzaddik doesn't mean automatically they're going to be failures, losers, homeless. No, I never said that. You're adding something. Now, it doesn't mean that all of the wicked either are always going to be successful. I didn't say that either. If you see a wicked person succeed, it's a really terrible sign. And the reason why is because there are many wicked people, but Hashem doesn't give up on all the wicked people. If you see a wicked person, by the definition of the Torah, succeed, that's in essence Hashem telling him, I'm about to give up on you because I'm rewarding you in this world. If a wicked person is not succeeding in this world, he's not succeeding materially, that doesn't mean that Hashem is not rewarding him, because there are all types of benefits that Hashem can give a person. For example, the pleasures that a person can get is not just money. Some people can get, a sexual pleasure. Some people get pleasure from food. Some people get pleasure from honor. There's different types of pleasures that Hashem gives a person, that to that person, it's just as good as that pleasure is to that person. There's one person that doesn't care about money, but he cares about girls. He wants a new girl every day. So to him, he doesn't care if he's homeless. As long as he has a new wife every day, he's happy. He's like an animal. That's his pleasure. Another guy says, I don't want any women, nothing. I only want people to say hi to me every time they see me. He wants honor. He wants kavod. That person, that's the pleasure that Hashem would give him. Meaning, there's all types of pleasures in the world. It's not just money. It's just that money is usually the most common example people give, because everyone can relate to it and apply it the way they want. But generally speaking, Hashem gives that reward, that payment to their face, not just in monetary terms, but in pleasure, in essence. So whatever that person gets, he gets. So some people that are wicked, Hashem gives them a pleasure in one way, and other people in a different way. But the key is to understand is that if you see a wicked person prospering, you should feel bad for them, not be jealous of them. Because most people spend a lot of time counting other people's money. On TV, oh, this guy made $50 million on that movie. Oh, that guy just stole the company for $1 billion. Oh, you look at that guy just, got divorced and lost $500 million. People count other people's money all the time. It's a very gross habit that people have. But nonetheless, it's the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. Why? Because if you see that person that made a certain amount of money is not righteous according to the Torah, you should feel bad for them. You should say, wow, miskin, poor guy, just made $1 billion.
So it's not necessarily cash.
No, it's pleasure. Pleasure, different types of pleasure, different forms of pleasure. Next question.
All right.
Ken.
If we go back to the story regarding, let's say Hitler, we will know from as a baby.
Oh, we'll get back to Hitler. Yeah.
Go back to Hitler.
Baby.
Yes, baby Hitler.
Baby Hitler.
That we know that.
That we know he's going to be Hitler.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is that story different from the one of the Torah about Cristiano, who knew about his children?
Hiskiyahu.
Yeah, Cristiano, who knew about what his children, his child was going to do.
Right.
How is that different?
How is it different? Chazak u'baruch. Fantastic question. So the story goes, for those who don't know, Hiskiyahu HaMelech was so righteous that the Gemara says Hashem decided that he is going to be Mashiach. That's how righteous he was. Why? He took a sword, put it in the ground, and he told all of his people, whoever doesn't learn Torah is going to get the sword instead, meaning I'm going to kill him. He's a king, he's not joking. He says, whoever doesn't learn Torah, I'm going to kill him. Death penalty. Everyone started learning Torah to the extent that 6-year-old boys knew the entire Mishnah by heart. The entire oral Torah by heart. 6-year-old boys. Today, 6-year-old boys learn Aleph Bet. 6-year-old boys knew as much as Rav Kanievsky. Do you understand? That's his generation. Everyone was Kodesh Kodeshim. Amazing. Hashem says, wow, you made the whole people, everybody do tshuva, everybody's tzaddikim, everybody's great. Chizkiyahu, you're a descendant of David HaMelech, so you fit everything. Hashem says, I'm going to make a Mashiach. But of course, every time they look at the account of someone, they don't only look at the good, they look at the bad. And the Malach HaMavet says, wait a minute, hold on, there's a missing mitzvah here. What's missing mitzvah? He's not married. He didn't fulfill the mitzvah of Purbu. Why didn't he do it? Because he saw in a Ruach HaKodesh that Hashem gave him, a gift that Hashem gave him, that he saw that his son is going to be an idol worshiper. So he says, why should I have a son that's an idol worshiper? I might as well not have a son. He took the gift that Hashem gave him and he misused it, if you will. And I'll explain why. The prophet came to Chizkiyahu. The prophet Isaiah came to Chizkiyahu, says, tomorrow you're going to die. And you don't have a share of the world to come. Wait a minute, what did I do? Everybody's tzaddikim, everybody's this. Not only am I going to die, but I don't have a share of the world to come, going to Gehinnom. He goes, yeah. He goes, why? You misused the gift that Hashem gave you. What? What did I do? Oh, you didn't get married. He said, yeah, but I didn't get married because I know that my son is going to be a Rasha, he's going to be an idol worshiper. I don't want someone to be an idol worshiper. Chizkiyahu misused the gift. Why? The prophet Isaiah says, that's not your accounting to do. You are obligated to fulfill a mitzvah. You're obligated to get married. You're obligated to try to have a kid. Whether that kid's going to be a sinner or not, that's his free choice. That's his free choice. You cannot stop someone from existing because you think he won't turn out so good. I'm not going to get married because I can't find the perfect wife. I'm not going to get married because of all types of odd reasons. Torah says no. You have a mitzvah to get married. You have to try your best. If you don't find someone, you don't find someone. But if it's your doing that's not allowing you to find someone, that's a problem. So Chizkiyahu only looked at the part of the prophecy that he was allowed to see, which was that his son was going to become an idol worshiper. And he understood his mistake. He understood that he wasn't allowed to use his prophecy to not allow certain things to happen in the world. So he told the prophet, please, tell Hashem I'm going to do tshuva, I'm going to get married, and I'm so serious, if you give me your daughter, I'll marry her. I'll marry her. Got married. Had kids. His kid was Menashe. Menashe became the next king. He was a wicked person. Every single sin you could possibly imagine, he made. Everything that Chizkiyahu saw, it was even worse. But what didn't Chizkiyahu see? What would it turn out to be? Menashe made every type of sin, rape, murder, incest, everything you could possibly imagine, worst person on earth. But then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to show you who's boss. All the power that he had, all the money he had, all the things that he had, okay, Hashem is patient. He's patient, but eventually you're going to get to know Hashem firsthand. So one day his enemies caught him, and the enemies that he had were cannibals. So they put him in a nice big pot, and they started cooking him alive. He started praying to his idols. One idol didn't work. Another idol didn't work. Another idol didn't work. Another idol didn't work. Then he says, God, Hashem, if you are real, you're going to save me from this right now. But if not, you're just like everybody else. You're just like all the other idols. The Malachei Sharet, the angels of God, shut off the sky. Hashem, don't answer his prayer. This chutzpan, this terrible person. Not only is he a sinner, but on top of it, he's telling you, you're just like everybody else unless you save me. What right does this guy have? Don't answer his prayers. Hashem says, I'm going to answer his prayers. I'm going to answer his prayers. Why? He's my son. Rasha, but he's my son. Hashem answered his prayers. He took that pot that he was being cooked at, made it into the first UFO in history. Started flying in the air all the way to Yerushalayim. That's in the Tanakh. All the way to Yerushalayim. And he ended up doing tshuva, becoming a big tzaddik. Big tzaddik. The book of Chronicles, the last book in the Tanakh, talks about Menashe's tshuva and how he became a big tzaddik, big kiddush Hashem. So Chizkiyahu didn't see the outcome. He saw the first part that only showed the bad stuff. Every single person can do tshuva. There's not a single person on earth that ever lived that did not have a chance to do tshuva. Hashem is not going to send someone into the world where their ultimate purpose is to serve Him, but they don't have the capability of doing it. Now, there are some people that had more difficulty than others, but everyone, Hashem showed themselves to everyone at some point in their life, many times. You're going to see that there are certain people who say, wait a minute, but I grew up secular. I went to a public school, like me. I ate pork for lunch. I had all types of non-Jewish girlfriends. I did this, and I only discovered that, you know, that all this stuff that you're saying at 40, 50 years old. So that's not fair. Why do you mean it's not fair? You discovered it. You're still alive. What difference does it make what you did for the first 50 years? You can't use that as an excuse. Why you can't use it as an excuse? There was one time a Rabbi, a guy who works at a Beit Knesset, simple guy, and he would clean up the Beit Knesset every day. And one day, as the Beit Knesset got bigger and bigger, they decided to have a board of directors, all these business people that weren't necessarily the most righteous people on earth, but nonetheless, they had money to build and develop this Beit Knesset into a whole community center. So now they said, listen, all the donations that everybody is giving to the Beit Knesset, aside from us, the board, where's the money? It's like, oh, it's in a bank. No, but how do we know where it's coming from? Where are the books? So the rabbi gives them a notebook. A little notebook with like little post-it notes on it. It's a mess. Like, what is this? You guys don't have it in a computer? He goes, no, we don't have a computer. He goes, this is you want us to build a multi-million-dollar community and you don't even have a computer? What's the matter with you? He goes, no, I don't know. The Rabbi doesn't know how to use a computer. Bring him in. Rabbi, listen, you have to start learning how to use a computer and start putting all the donations and everything that's going on in the community, all the money we're putting into it, got to put it in the computer. So the poor Rabbi says, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm illiterate. I don't know how to read and I don't know how to write. I don't know how to do it. So forget about using a computer. I don't know what those buttons say. I first have to learn how to read. Like, oh, we're sorry, Mr. Rabbi. You know, we know you've been with the Beit Knesset for 30 years, but we have to fire you. Why? We need to develop, to go to the next level, we need someone who knows how to read. Someone who knows how to use a computer. So thank you, but goodbye. So this poor Rabbi doesn't know how to do anything else. Doesn't have that much money. So he goes to the market. What could I do? What could I do? What could I buy? He sees some guy selling some tools. He says to him, how many tools can I buy with $100? He says, you could buy these tools. Okay, I'll buy them. He buys the tools. He finds a customer. He sells them for $200. He comes back to the same guy. Says, listen, I have $200. How many tools can I buy with $200? He tells him this much. He goes, he sells it to somebody else. He makes $200 profit. And he keeps rolling. Before you know it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought this guy Shefa. And within a couple of years, he has a shipment from China of $10 million worth of goods. Now, $10 million is a lot of money, Rabotai. I know you guys are rich, but $10 million is a lot of money for some people. $10 million shows up. Now, they can't just give it to somebody. So the representative from China shows up with the container. And he says, hi, sir, yes, please sign over here to accept the container with all the tools you bought. The Rabbi, former Rabbi, ex-Rabbi, takes a ink, puts his thumb in there, presses on the ink, and then presses on the paper, his fingerprint. The Chinese guy's like, what is that? He goes, my signature. He goes, no. Signature, that's a thumbprint. We don't need it. We're not the police. We need a signature, your name, write your name. He goes, no, I'm sorry, I can't, this is my signature. He goes, no. We're a respectable company from China. We need your name. No, don't, someone can say it's not the fingerprints. No. We need your name. I cannot sign my name here. He goes, why not? You can't accept $10 million worth of goods, you can't sign your name. He goes, I don't know how to sign my name. I don't know how to write. So the Chinese guy says, look at that. Look at that. You just got $10 million worth of product and you don't even know how to read. Imagine how much money you would have if you knew how to read. The Rabbi says to him, no, you fool. If I knew how to read, I'd still be making $200 a week as a Rabbi in the Beit Knesset. Now, if you work your whole life as a Rabbi or as an average person making $200-300 a week for 30 years, but discovered you have a way to make $10 million, but it's difficult. Do you say, no, I'm used to $200, I'm just going to settle for $200? Absolutely not. I'm going to go for $10 million. I'm going to go for 10 million. Yeah, but it's hard. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, but it's difficult. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, but it's this, but it's that. I know it doesn't make a difference. You give me an opportunity to make 10 million. I'm going right now, he says. So how come it's different when it comes to saving your neshama? Oh, I was going different for 30 years. I didn't know for 30 years. Okay, but now you know. So do what you got to do. There's no excuse. Oh, I was born this way. I was brought up this way. There's no excuse. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you a chance. He showed you the truth in black and white. You know that He exists. You know that He gave the Torah. That's it. Finished. You have to fulfill the entire Torah. Anyone that tells you otherwise is a liar. I can give you proofs from the Torah if you want. But the reality is, Rabotai, is that no one has an excuse. No one. Once you are shown that Hashem is real, that's it. And everyone is shown at some point in their life that Hashem is 1,000,000% real. Not 1%, not 100%, 1,000,000%. All you got to do is pay attention. And that's why the Rambam writes in a Guide to the Perplexed, the Moreh Nevuchim, in the first book, it's a chapter 36. And he says that a person that's an atheist, a heretic, that decides to go against the sages, meaning he says he believes in God, but in his own way, that guy is much, much worse than an idol worshiper. Rambam writes it. Why? Why is the guy that is worshiping an idol not worse than the guy that says, I don't believe in anything. I believe we came from monkeys. Or I just believe in my own version of God. How come?
He makes himself God. No?
He says, the Rambam says, the idol worshiper that was brought up as an idol worshiper, he has a rational reason to believe in an idol. Why? He believes that this idol connects him to God. He doesn't actually believe that the idol is God. No person actually thinks that $15 statue they bought from Chinatown is God. But they believe that this statue connects them to God. That's idol worship. He believes that, so now he has a rational reason to believe in it. Why? He was brought up this way. He thought about it, that he was taught that this is what you need. You need this tool, if you will, to connect to the Almighty. That's irrational. Even though it's wrong, it's rational. An atheist is not a rational thought. Why? There is no way that you've actually put thought into the creation and arrived at a conclusion that it came from nothing. No way. It's not a rational thought. What the Rambam says, you reviewed the world, arrived at whatever conclusion you have. There is some type of creator, but I don't want to give him a name, but I don't feel like serving him either. But I can't justify that, so I have to say I don't believe in him. I don't believe in him. So the Rambam says that you had an opportunity to serve God, but you decided to deny His existence. You decided to deny the Torah. You're much worse than an idol worshiper, because you have no excuse for what you did. He at least has an excuse. Don't get me wrong, they both go to Gehenom and they stay there. But nonetheless, the punishments that and the tests and the things like that they get in this world and the next are slightly different, because one is rational, one is irrational. So the problem is that many times people do not spend much time delving into this. They try it once in their life for a certain amount of time and then they just simply give up. They go through like a phase where they try to search for God, they get confused, or they get something that they don't like, and they just decide, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy my life. And that's why the Rambam says the heretic is bad, because he didn't search for the truth enough to really arrive at the conclusion. He didn't even give God a chance. He didn't even give God a chance. He had the chance. Hashem showed himself to him, and many times he showed him different miracles. He showed him different types of things that happened in his life, but he continued ignoring the truth. Continuing ignoring the truth. Whereas the other guy, the idol worshiper, he actually thought he has the truth. He thought he has the truth. He just thought that you have to connect to Hashem through an idol. That's a rational thought. It's wrong, but it's rational. The other guy is not a rational thought. Which means that he was a heretic on purpose. That's really, in essence, the point. The atheist is a purposeful sin, meaning he purposefully denied God, purposefully denied the Torah because it did not meet his desires. Because he knew that if he follows this God and follows this book, he has to change his life. He didn't want to do it, so he chose to deny it. Hence the reason why it's considered worse. Next question.
I have a follow-up. A follow-up.
I'll try to answer it in 2 minutes so you give to other people some chances. Yeah.
Going
Back to Hitler again?
Yeah.
You're fascinated with Hitler.
No, not even with Hitler. I want to get the concept.
No?
What if we assume that in the case of baby Hitler, we don't know what's gonna happen. We didn't have the full picture. Maybe it was gonna do tshuva at the end. So
No.
what's that now? What's the difference?
The difference is that the Torah has a mitzvah to kill a wayward child. That's one thing, but in the aside from that, that's for a Jew. In the case of Hitler, he was a goy. So if you know that this particular goy is going to kill Jews, you're obligated to kill him. So there's also different weight between the two. So that's also slightly different between the wayward child versus a Hitler example. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. If Hitler comes after he killed 6 million Jews and tens of millions of other people, right? He comes to a rabbi, he says, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I want to do tshuva, I want to convert to Judaism. I want to pay for it too. What is it, $2,000 for conversion? I want to convert to Judaism. I want to do tshuva, I want to say I'm sorry. No? You accept him?
No. If it's up to me, no.
Well, that's saying up to you now, we're back to the Torah.
Tshuva is always allowed.
A guy just killed 6 million of your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles. Now he wants to convert to Judaism.
No, I think so.
Hashem wants him to do tshuva.
You once said that if Hitler was giving sandwiches, assume that there's poison in them. So
Right, no, but in this case, he's real. He wants to convert. He's legit. You double checked. You checked all of his friends. All of his friends are saying, listen, this guy's fanatic. He watches all of Rabbi Reuven's shiurs. He's all day he's learning Torah. This guy already knows the whole thing by heart. He's fanatic. He's keeping. He's this. He's that. Yeah, but he killed 6 million Jews.
there's a source for that.
Bible, right?
Why do you think I'm coming up with it out of my top of my head? Of course, there's a source for what I'm asking you.
Slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Jews.
More. Nebuchadnezzar had a general named Nebuzaradan. Nebuzaradan was much worse than Hitler. Much worse than Hitler. Not only because he also killed millions and millions and millions, but he killed them with his own hand. Hitler didn't kill people himself. He had people. Nebuzaradan actually killed people himself. But after he had a moment of truth, after he got traumatized by seeing the truth of a Torah, of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, he took off all of his uniform, put on a sack, converted to Judaism. Converted to Judaism, became an Ish Kadosh. Gemara says, Ger Tzedek. Ger Tzedek. Meaning, if a person does tshuva, serious tshuva, Hashem will open the way for him. Open the way for him. Now, these are hypothetical examples, but just to get you guys a little under your nerves a little bit, because I know that sometimes people hear certain things, and if it doesn't make sense to them, no, I don't agree with this. It doesn't matter what you agree with. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's Torah. Like this one superhero decided to go on a comment war on my YouTube channel, because last week or a few days ago, whenever it was, I told you that the Torah says that if a mother and her son both convert, Let's say the son's a teenager. He's 18 and the mother is, let's say, 40. They both convert to Judaism. They're allowed to marry each other according to the Torah. They're allowed to marry each other according to the Torah. Why? Because they're both two neshamot. They're not related anymore. So some guy says, no, see, I knew there's something wrong with this rabbi. He's making stuff up. So I said, what making stuff up? Look at Rambam, Ilchot Isurei Be'ah. The Rambam says it outright. According to the Torah, it's allowed. We forbid it as rabbis because it looks bad in the eyes of people because they don't know any Torah. It looks bad in the eyes of the goyim. But according to the Torah, it's allowed. Why? Why is this allowed? Because they're brand new neshamot. Because no, this is a sick thought. No, you're sick. You're sick. You're not understanding that a convert is a brand new human being. He's not related whatsoever to his past. None at all. He has a new birthday, new name, nothing. His parents are no longer his parents. His kids are no longer his kids. He's brand new. This is a testimony of how holy a convert is. It's not a downgrade, a downplay on a convert. It's the opposite. It's showing how holy the converts are, that they literally, when they dip into that mikveh as a kosher Jew, a woman dips into the mikveh, converts. She comes out a brand new baby with not a single sin. If you ever had the merit to see someone convert on that day, ask him for a blessing. Why? This person doesn't have any sins. Can you imagine getting a blessing from someone who doesn't have any sins? Who do you think Hashem is going to listen to? You with 5,000 sins by 9 o'clock in the morning? Or this person that doesn't have any sins? He just dipped into the mikveh. That's why people go to this chatan anytime you see a chuppah, and it's a kosher chuppah, not one of these mixed dancing types of weddings. You go chuppah, everybody comes to the groom and asks for a blessing. Everybody comes to the bride for a blessing. Why? If it's a kosher wedding, that day Hashem shows up to the wedding and gives the groom and the bride and groom a present. What's the present? Wipes out all of their sins. That's why everybody goes and asks him for a blessing. Why? They don't have any sins. You see a convert, he just converted today. Not if he converted a year ago. Converted a year ago, you had plenty of time to make as many sins as you, maybe. Today, he converted, you ask him for a blessing. He doesn't have any sins. If people understood how highly Hashem regards converts, they would simply look for them in the streets, just to befriend them, just to help them, just to love for them, just to show them some type of favor so they can fulfill a mitzvah of loving the convert. The few tzaddikim that I know in Eretz Yisrael, they always look for opportunities to do something good for us. Always. They don't have much, but they always look for something. Why? It's like, listen, I gotta somehow make you happy, that's happy enough that the Rabbanit is happy, and that's how I fulfill the mitzvah of making a convert happy. Why? They're surrounded by a bunch of tzaddikim around them. They don't have the opportunity to go, make converts happy. Says, I want to fulfill this mitzvah all the way from Yerushalayim to make the Rabbanit happy. Why? Because they understand the value of it. So when a person understands that a convert, doesn't matter what age he dips or she dips, 10 years old, 20 years old, 80 years old, the second they dip and they're a righteous convert, Hashem gives them a brand new neshama. That moment, they have a brand new neshama. Many converts that I know that I've helped convert actually felt something physical. Most of the time it wasn't at the moment of dipping in the mikveh. Most of the time it was slightly after, later that day, later that week, sometimes around the same time. But nonetheless, several of them have actually felt something physical. Everybody has their own descriptions of it, but nonetheless, if a person understood this, they'd see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu mentions his love and regard and protection of the converts and the orphans 36 times in the Torah. 36 times in the Torah, more than anything else in the Torah other than Shabbat. When he says, I'm giving them a brand new neshama, he's not saying it to sound politically correct or nice. It's actually a halacha. So when someone says, no, I don't believe that, that person now becomes a kofel bat Torah. You cannot count that person that says, I don't believe that, in a minyan. You cannot count him in a minyan. You cannot use him as a witness. He's a kufer b'Torah. But foolish people who do not understand this, they make comments blindly on the internet. No, I don't think the Rambam knows what he's talking about. Mi Moshe ad Moshe lo haya ke Moshe, it says in it. From Moses till Moses, Maimonides, there's no such thing as Moses. This is the greatest sage that's lived in the last 1,000 years. No, I disagree with the Rambam. So the point is, people, when they use their emotions, they always make a mistake. We cannot use our emotions to determine right and wrong. You have to look at the Torah. What does the Torah say is right and wrong? What does the Torah say is the good and bad? Why? Torah is the only way that we know. It's the only way. So it's important to know some of these things, because again, some of these things apply to us every day. I heard actually a story from a woman, a convert yesterday. She says growing up, she suffered tremendously because people didn't know that they were converts. When they knew they were converts, they would torture them in different ways. Marriage issues, school issues. She says something that was horrible. Like mamash, I almost started crying. She says to me, one time we were invited for Shabbat over this family's house. Now, this family had another guest, and as you would have it, the whole night the two are talking about how conversion should no longer be allowed. That they hate converts, and they don't really think converts are really Jews. They think they're really goyim in disguise. And the whole time they're insulting converts, not realizing that they're hosting a family of 7 or 8 converts. And this little girl is sitting there, listening to it, and crying inside bitterly. They don't know she's a convert. They don't know her father, everybody's a convert. They don't know. Because, you can't tell. There's no stamp on your forehead that says, I converted. The whole time they're talking about them. I don't think they're Jewish. No. If my son brought me a convert, I wouldn't let him marry. If my daughter brought me a convert, I wouldn't let him marry. No, I wouldn't count him in minyan. All types of horrible things. Imagine you're sitting in a business meeting. You're about to go make $1 million, and the guys don't know who's who, and they start talking about, you know what? I think Hitler was right. If Hitler was now, I'd actually donate to him. I can't wait till the next Hitler comes up. Burn some more Jews. And you're sitting there, this little Jew, you are sitting over there, you're listening to it the whole time. And they're telling you how much they hate Jews and how they want to burn Jews. And you're sitting there like this. What are you going to do? You're surrounded by 20 Hitlers that can't wait to kill you, but they don't know it's you. And you're sitting there. You say something, they'll kill you probably. You're sitting there, miserable. This is what happened to this little girl. Now, Baruch Hashem is an older woman and successful and everything is good. But the point being, Rabotai, people are ignorant of all aspects of the Torah, but this particular issue, probably more than most. More than most. And including converts themselves. Including converts themselves don't know the significance of being a convert. If a person knew what a convert is, they would literally look to befriend them. They would look to help them. They would look to do anything they could do for them. They'd be very careful in how they treat them. Very careful. Why? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, you mistreat a convert, you become my enemy. I go to war with you personally. Doesn't say that about many other things. So, it's when I say things, it always has to have a source, not my opinion. If I tell you that the converts, according to Torah, they're not related, it's not because I'm some sick person. Baruch Hashem, I'm okay. It's in the Torah. It's in Halacha. Whether you agree with it or not, I care less. And guess what? Hashem cares less either if you agree with it. You have a debate with Hashem, you go ask him for a meeting. Hashem, I want a one-on-one with you. We're going to debate. We're going to debate what's the right thing to do. Only problem is when you start the debate, it doesn't end well. Next question. Almost finished.
Can I ask a quick question?
How about? There's many questions you want. I mean, I'm here for that.
Conversion issue.
Yes.
So is the goal, I don't know, I didn't think the goal was for all the non-Jews of the world to convert at the end of days or Moshiach comes. what's the world going to look like? Is it going to be in, like, let's say Christianity and Islam and secularism are gone? People will worship one God, bring korbanot to the Beit HaMikdash and Sukkot and all that, and they'll have a new world religion, or they're all going to convert to Judaism?
So the prophet says, Zechariah, and it's also in Ezekiel, that before Mashiach comes, there will be a war. This war is going to be called Gog Magog. And in that war, 2/3 of the world will die. The last third, only a part of it will survive. The righteous among them will survive. Hashem will test each one of the survivors of the third of the world like He tests and refines gold and silver. Now, before all of this will happen, the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah, page 4a, 3b, it starts and ends at 4a, says that before Mashiach comes, there will be an unusual amount of converts, people that look to convert to Judaism. These people are different neshamot that either were there at the time of Mount Sinai and wanted to become Jewish, but were part of the nations that didn't want to accept the Torah. So Hashem says, I'm going to return you and give you the opportunity to be Jewish, but in the future. But I can't make you Jewish and the rest of your nation not Jewish. Or it's actually people that are Jews that have lived in previous generations but forsaken their Jews, either Spanish Inquisition or other times, and Hashem in essence returned them to the world with a tikkun of converting to Judaism, or otherwise. So some converts are coming from here, some converts are coming from there, but there's going to be a lot of converts. Not everyone is going to convert though. A lot of converts, but not everyone. Anyone that asks, let's say for example, any dayan that deals with converts, how is the conversions today versus let's say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they'll tell you there's no comparison. 20, 30 years ago, you have let's say 1, 2, 3 a month in a bet din. Today, you have sometimes 5 a day. So a huge difference. Some bet dins even more. So there's a lot more people looking to convert. I deal with a new one, at least 1 or 2 new ones every day. Every single day of the week, there's at least 1 or 2 new ones that are waiting for me to respond to their emails and messages and so on to help them convert. There's a lot of people looking to convert, but not everyone will convert. Not everyone will have the merit to convert, but nonetheless, many will. The people that convert will be righteous Jews if obviously they continue following the Torah. The people that don't convert, if they're idol worshippers, if they are Christians that are worshiping Yoshke, they're worshiping some type of idol, Buddha and so on, they're not going to survive. But if they're righteous people, meaning they're righteous Noahides that believe in God, they were considered the righteous, the Chasdei Umot HaOlam, the righteous among the nations. And the prophet says that there will be 700 or 10 from every nation, which there's 70 nations, according to the Torah, 70 real nations, not the amount of nations that are in the map that you see today. There's 70 real nations, and 10 from each one of those 70 nations, so meaning 700, will be at every corner of a Jew's tzitzit, meaning every Jew that's a righteous Jew that survives the time of Mashiach will have 2,800 righteous Noahides as his Talmidim. Please teach us Torah. And they'll be willing to do whatever he wants. They'll help him with whatever he needs. But they're in essence, their payment was him teaching him Torah, teaching him about God. So if a Jew wears tzitzit, he'll have 2,800 free employees. If he doesn't, maybe he'll be an employee. But the point is that not everyone will convert. Some will be righteous Noahides. But after that happens, after the Mashiach comes, and there's the righteous Noahides, and then there's the Jews, there'll be another approximately 1,000 years in this world. 1,000 years in this world. No one will die anymore. There's no death anymore. There's no evil inclination anymore. But there's 1,000 years of this world. After the 1,000 years of this world, then we move to the spiritual world. And there'll be the resurrection of the dead. Actually, before that, 40 years after Mashiach comes, there'll be resurrection of the dead, and so on. So it's not that everyone will convert, but everyone will know that there is one God. And it's the God of Israel, and it's the Torah, and no other book other than that. No New Testament, no False Testament, no Quran, no Buddha Shmuda, nothing. There's only the Torah. There's just the Torah, but everyone will know it.
World religion.
It's the same religion. It's the same religion, but it's just that the only ones that will exist are the ones that are on board now.
What I'm saying right now, somebody is, let's say, a Christian or a Muslim, and they say, I disagree with that, and they want to worship God.
They can only do that.
They don't want to convert to Judaism.
They don't have to.
There's no place for them, any place where they can go pray together and do like
Right.
There's
No
no
hides.
place like that. It seems like either you convert or you stay a Christian, or
No, it's not true. It's not
they
true.
have a place where they can get together and pray to God as monotheists.
It's-
Monotheist place, like Yirei Hashem. or
Right.
something.
So there are organizations that are Noahide organizations all over the world. There are.
And they pray together. And
There are organizations that are Noahide organizations that are gathering places for the righteous Noahides. For example, I know personally a guy that runs a one in Houston, Texas. It's called Nativ. It's run by a guy named Reuven Bryant. Nice guy. And he has a center. He brings rabbis. And they teach the Noahides different parts of the Torah that are related to them. Most of the time it's usually Musar and things that are related to them. They teach them about Tanakh and things like that. That's a center of teaching. There are places all over the world, there are different places like this. But most of the learning that Noahides have is the internet, self-study. That's most of the internet that even Jews have today. Because even your average Bet Knesset doesn't necessarily have good quality Shiurei Torah. Many Beit Knesset are just pretty much prayer centers, or sometimes just bars. They're not, there's not really real Shiurei Torah in many Beit Knesset. Today, Hashem created the internet because He knew that we're going to be in a generation that you're going to have to learn a lot, and you're not going to necessarily going to have the ability to do that in any community. So He gives everyone the opportunity to learn the entire Torah from your couch if you want. You go to BezratHashem.org, you can learn every parasha in the Torah. You go to BezratHashem.org, you can learn a lot of things. Go to my website, you can learn a lot of things. We have Baruch Hashem Shurim about many things in the Torah. And so the key is that you have a lot of things that are available to you that you can do from home, whether you're a righteous Noahide or you're a Jew. Now, as far as prayer is concerned, only a Jew is required to pray with other Jews together to form a minyan. A non-Jew is not obligated to pray, but they should pray in their own words. They should pray in their own words. Whether they do it together or they do it by themselves doesn't really make a difference. There's no significance for them praying together like there is significance for Jews praying together, where when 10 Jews praying together, Hashem takes the best part of each one of those 10 people's prayers and makes it into one perfect prayer. That's in essence the point of praying in a minyan. Because when you pray by yourself, not the whole prayer had kavana. Hopefully at least a few minutes did. So when you pray by yourself, Hashem is going to look, okay, you prayed for let's say 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and He says, out of that 15 minutes, you really thought about God for a minute and a half. The rest of the time you thought about your bills, about the fact you have to buy groceries, about your wife, about your kids, about your shoes, about your boss, about the customer, about everything else except God. A minute and a half you thought about God. So that's not exactly the best prayer. When you go and you pray with a minyan and there's at least 10 kosher Jews there, they're also the same thing like you. They also prayed for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So Hashem says, I'm going to take His 1 minute, His 30 seconds, His 4 seconds, His 3 minutes, all combine it into one. Now it's one big perfect prayer, and I'll accept all of their prayers. That's the benefit of praying with a kosher minyan. Pray by yourself, it's difficult because you have to have serious kavanah. Now, Goyim, the Noahides, on the other hand, do not have that. They don't benefit from each other, if you will, because number one, they're not required to pray. They should, but they're not required to pray. But furthermore than that, since they're not required, there's no significance of them doing it together. Should they do it together? Go ahead, do it together. But be very, very careful not to start a new religion. That's what happens sometimes. Noahides like the Torah a lot. They like Judaism a lot. But they don't want to convert, or they can't convert. Fine, that's not a problem. You don't have to convert. But you have to make sure you act like a Noahide. Don't act like a Jew. Why? Because if you're a Noahide and you keep Shabbat, that's not a mitzvah. That's a sin. It's called stealing. And one of the 7 Noahide laws is you're not allowed to steal. A Noahide that keeps Shabbat is not going to Gan Eden, because he is violating the Noahide laws. Now, are you allowed to have a nice dinner on Shabbat? Enjoy. Are you allowed not to work on Shabbat? You don't have to work. It's up to you. But don't not work because it's Shabbat. Don't not drive because it's Shabbat. Don't not, turn on the light because it's Shabbat. Don't not turn on the light because you don't feel like it. If you start keeping Shabbat like a Jew, as a Noahide, you have a very serious problem. And the Rambam says it's either that you're going to be considered a thief, or that you're starting a new religion. What's this new religion? It's a mix of Noahide and Judaism. And that's a violation of the Torah. And that's in essence what Christianity is. Christianity didn't start the way it is now. Christianity, if you look back 2,000 years ago, it looks like modern Orthodoxy. They kept Shabbat. They kept kosher. They put on tzitzit. It looked almost like modern Orthodoxy today.
All Jews.
They were all ignorant Jews. Jews that didn't know how to read and write. But they had one guy that looked like a rock star. Now, problem is, little by little, they started changing things. Modesty, a little less. Kosher, a little less. Shabbat, a little less. Let's, a little less, little less, little less. But the problem was that it's still, to the average ignorant person, still looked very similar to Judaism. And I'm going to tell you a secret I never told you before. My rabbi told me this. When he told me this, my jaw dropped and I took about 3 or 4 days to recover. Now this is a unknown fact. Unknown fact. I'm going to tell you as much, I'm going to tell you nothing more, nothing less though. It's going to shock you, but it's true. In the beginning of Christianity, it looked very similar to the average person that's not a melumad, not a scholar. It looked identical to Judaism, which means that many Jews went to Christianity thinking it's Judaism. This created a very big problem. Why? You're a Jew that wants to be a Jew, but you're an idol worshiper at the same time, and you don't even know it. Problem. So the Chachamim saw this happen, and since Jesus was already gone, Christianity was born 70 to 300 years after he died, but needless to say, none of the people that wrote the book, the New Testament, ever saw Jesus. There's no actual testimony of anyone, actually eyewitness testimony of seeing Jesus other than the Jews that spoke against him. But that's a side note. Christianity was founded by Jews, and they started it, and it was very, very similar, and they were able to get a bunch of the ignorance. So, if you compare it to today, they were able to get all the secular Jews to jump on board. Why? You could be secular, but feel religious. Be secular, but feel religious. That's in essence what it is. That's what Christianity is today. It's your secular, really. You're not keeping any of the laws of the Torah, but you feel religious because you go to a place once a week on Sundays. But if you're really religious, you go on Wednesdays too. You put some ashes on your head sometimes. You eat a little cracker. You dip in some water, and you kill people. But no problem, as long as you believe in Yoshka, everything's okay. Everything's okay. That's what Christianity is in a box. Now, this started initially without the crackers, without the water, without all this stuff. Initially, it started with, it looked like Judaism. Modern Orthodox, though. Different. Now, the rabbis, the sages of that time, had a very serious problem. They were losing Jews like flies because these people didn't know the difference. So the big secret is, the sages sent a sage. They asked one of the sages who is willing to sacrifice their life. Who is willing to sacrifice their life to save Judaism? One of the sages said, me. Said, okay, you're going to go on a mission. You're going to go to Christianity, and you're going to become a new version of Christianity. But your new version of Christianity will have new rules that are so different from Judaism, no one could ever mix the two. No one could ever confuse the two. You're going to be the first pope. You're going to be the first guy. You are the beginning of Catholicism. Hence the reason why you see Catholicism was born after Christianity, even though it's the same book. But it was started by a Jew. There was a righteous Jew. There was a tzaddik gadol. We sing his song on Shabbat. Every Jew does in Beknesset.
Nishmat Kol Chai.
Ken. We sing his song every Shabbat. When did he write this? He started Catholicism. And he said, okay, how could I make Christianity different from Judaism? Started creating saints, Mary, all types of crackers, all types of little weird stuff that's very different from Judaism. And he changed Shabbat to Sunday. All of these things gave the birth to Catholicism. And many of the ones that realized this is a different religion either came back to Judaism or went to Catholicism. Most came back to Judaism. But nonetheless, he stayed there his whole life, and towards the end of his life, he sent a letter to the sages saying to them that he sacrificed his life for the sake of Hashem, for the sake of Am Yisrael, but no one be mistaken. He doesn't believe any of this garbage. He still serves Hashem every single day. He still prays to Hashem every single day, and he wrote a song for Hashem. And that song we sing on Shabbat, on Friday, to this day. Person that sacrificed his entire life. If it was started by you and me, it would end with you and me. But it started with someone that Mamash was willing to sacrifice their life. Why? Because sometimes you have to make sacrifices for the sake of the nation. So the point is, Rabotai, is that a lot of people don't know this. But in the beginning, Christianity was very different. The Christians of the past are very different than the Christians of today. But as things, unfortunately, continued evolving, a lot of really, really horrible people joined Catholicism and started killing Jews in the streets, started pogroms, inquisitions, and so on, or anti-Semitism became a hobby, if you will. But it's not like it wasn't before. It's just that they started using Christianity as the excuse. There's always been anti-Semitism. That's why Mount Sinai is called Mount Sinai. The real name of Mount Sinai is not Mount Sinai. It's Har Chorev. It's Mount Chorev. That's the real name. But from the minute we got the Torah, it was called Mount Sinai. And the reason why is because Sin'ah, hatred, came down with the Torah. Torah for Am Yisrael, hatred of the Torah and Am Yisrael for the rest of the nations. From the minute we got the Torah, the world hated us. Why? That's the job. That's the job that some goyim have in this world, to hate us, in order to remind us that we're Jewish. Just imagine, despite the hatred that we have in America alone, forget about Germany and France and other places. Forget about just America alone. Half of the Americans that are, in essence, our allies, are openly saying, more than half, are openly saying they hate us. Yet we still marry them. Yet we still want to be like them. You ask the average Jew, who do you want to be like? Moshe Rabbeinu or LeBron James? I'll tell you LeBron James. Who do you want to be like? Avraham Avinu or Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs. Who do you want to be like? Yaakov Avinu or Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett. Who's Yaakov? I'll tell you. Who's Yaakov? Who's Moshe? Who are these people? They have money. You want to be like them. Tell them who you want to marry. A tzadika Sarah Imenu covers her hair with the mitpachat, covers her face. You want to marry one of these filthy people as a cheerleader at the Super Bowl party. Super Bowl party. Yeah, but she's not Jewish. But she's a nice girl. How do I know this? Almost 80% of American Jews right now are marrying non-Jews. Almost 80%. Almost 80%. In certain sections of America, like Colorado, it's over 95%. Over 95%. Meaning, if you marry a Jew in Colorado, you pretty much just beat the odds that are worse than that are more significant than the lotto. Like there's more of a chance of you winning the lotto than actually marrying a Jew in Colorado. Kind of rhyme. Maybe I'll make a rap. Point is, Rabotai, it's mind-boggling that with all of this anti-Semitism, we still want to be like them, and we still want to act like them, and we still want to marry them. So imagine if there was an anti-Semitism. There wouldn't be Jews left. There wouldn't be Jews left. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a rule in the world. Esav soneh leYaakov. It's an halacha. It's not a comment, it's not a midrash, it's an halacha. In the Torah, in the Shulchan Aruch. Esav, one of his obligations, if you will, or roles in the world, is to hate Yaakov. Meaning, Hashem says, I am using Esav to remind you you're a Jew. Whether you like to be a Jew or not doesn't make a difference. Eventually, Esav is going to remind you you're a Jew. During the Holocaust, Hitler didn't care if you were religious or not. He still killed you. During the Spanish Inquisition, they didn't care if you were religious or not. They still killed you. Anti-Semitism all over the world today, they don't care if you're religious or not. They still hate you. And if they had a chance, they'd kill you too. Meaning, whether you're religious or not doesn't matter to Esav. Who does it matter to? Hashem. It matters to Hashem, because if you die a religious Jew, it's a good thing. Why? You're going from this world to a much better world. If you die as a non-religious Jew that wanted to pretend like he's Esav, wanted to pretend like he's the next gangster rapper, you have a very serious problem. A very serious problem. So that's Rabotai. One of the things that people need to be reminded of is that Christianity is not a place that's befriending Jews. If you ever see the Christian church doing good things for Jews, don't be fooled that they're necessarily trying to, they're trying to forget their past. In essence, this is part of their role. This is part of their role in order to missionize. That's really what they do. Doesn't mean that they're all in on it. Some of the members are actually honest people. They're honest. Some of the Christians that I know are fantastic human beings. They're not actually interested in missionizing. They're not actually interested in destroying Jews. They're actually really legitimately interested in helping. The problem is not them. It's the leaders behind them. So, why? Because that's part of their religion. Part of their religion is to missionize. If you do not missionize, you're not considered a religious Christian. If you do not use dawah, which for Muslims is like missionizing, you're not considered a religious Muslim. So the Muslims are missionizing, the Christians are missionizing, and the Jews come to the shiur. Anything else?
Is a person allowed to pray for the war of Gog and Magog not to happen?
You could pray until you're blue in the face. It doesn't change anything. It's a prophecy.
Yeah, we believe that negative prophecies can be overturned, but the positive ones will happen no matter what.
Yeah, but the Mashiach has to come one way or the other, and the Gog and Magog is not a necessarily a negative prophecy. You're viewing negative prophecy because you're viewing 2/3 of the world dying as negative. That's because you've defined good and bad in your mind. If you define good and bad according to the Torah, you'll see that the war of Gog and Magog is the greatest thing that can happen. 2/3 of the world are enemies of God.
Yeah.
Right now, 99% of the world are enemies of God. Much worse than 2/3. Most of the world are idol worshippers. Why would you want them to live? They pray to a different God. Why would you want them to live? For what? To make you sushi?
They're making nuclear bombs.
Why would you want these wicked people to live so they could kill more Jews?
Yeah.
What are we exactly praying for? You want to pray for something, pray for Am Yisrael to do tshuva. That's a good thing. Am Yisrael does tshuva, that's something to pray for. Wait for Hashem not to blow up the world? Why?
Well, what if you pray for the whole world to do teshuvah?
Pray for the whole world to do tshuva. It's just not realistic. You want to pray for something realistic. There's no such thing as the whole world being righteous. There has to be evil. Evil is part of creation. There's always going to be evil Jews. There's always going to be evil non-Jews. There's always going to be good Jews. There's always going to be good non-Jews. There's no such thing. We don't live in a fantasy island where everyone is good. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Let's not carried away.
But doesn't that take away free will or free choice?
No, they choose to be bad. People choose to be bad. People choose to be good. To be good is much, much harder than to be bad. To be bad does not require any effort at all. You simply got to ignore the law. Do whatever you want. That's being bad. Being good means you have to obey the law. That requires work. That requires knowledge. That requires effort. Being bad, easy. Easy. You give somebody a machete, you give him a machine gun, he's bad in a second. You can be bad by yourself in the bathroom. You can be bad with other people. Being bad is the easiest thing in the world. Requires zero effort. Being good, that's something. That's something. That's why there's Gan Eden for them. There's no Gan Eden for wicked people. Wicked people do not enter Gan Eden. They see it from afar and suffer. So, when a person understands that good and bad can only be defined by the Creator, he starts looking at the war of Gog and Magog as a good thing. Because he sees that, wait a minute, why would I not want this war to happen? Why would I not want Hashem to bring this world to a climatic point and bring His glory, His Kedusha, His holiness? Why would I not want that to happen? I want it to happen. But I want it to happen when more Jews do tshuva. That's a good thing. That's an aspirational desire. I want more people to do tshuva. Fantastic. I want more Jews to do tshuva. Great. I want more goyim to do tshuva. Fantastic. That's an aspirational thing to believe. Yeah, no problem. I want more goyim and Jews to do tshuva. But to say I want the whole world to do tshuva, it's not a realistic thing.
Yeah, but don't we also believe that 80% of Jews are going to die as well?
2/3 of the world is going to die for sure. As far as what percentage of that is going to be Jews or not, that depends on how many people do tshuva. If the Mashiach came today, we're all in trouble. If the Mashiach came today, we have a very serious problem. I give you just a visual. I said already, let's say out of 15 to 20 million Jews, 3-4 million keep Shabbat. Okay, that means that out of the 20 million, 16 million for sure have no chance whatsoever. They're destroyed immediately. Anyone that does not keep Shabbat, doesn't keep the basics of the law, has zero chance. Zero, like no chance at all. Even if his grandfather is the Baal Shem Tov himself, doesn't make a difference. Zero chance if you don't keep Shabbat. Zero chance if you're not keeping your Brit. Zero chance you don't keep the Torah. Zero. Now, the other 4 million that actually keep Shabbat in the basics, not all of them are going to survive. Why? Because you may be doing a lot of good things, but if you're doing one of these really, really bad things, and you didn't do tshuva for it, you have a very serious problem. It's a very serious problem. That's why Hashem says, I'm going to test them and refine them like I do refine gold and silver. What is gold and silver? You go to a place a refinery, and see how they take a bunch of precious metals and they refine them. It's not a pretty process. It's cool from afar, but don't get too close. Why? It'll burn you. They take a bunch of metal and they destroy the metal just to take out the best part, the gold. That's in essence what Hashem is going to do to the remaining third. He's only going to take the best of them. The best of them, not all of them. So we have to work every single day to do tshuva. Every single day to do tshuva, because we want to give ourselves a chance to be part of that best. If the Mashiach showed up tomorrow, I can't tell you that I'm certain that I would be saved. Not that I murder, I don't do anything bad that I know of. That's like karet sin. I still can't tell you I'm 100%. Anyone that's 100%, I can tell you he's 100% not going to survive. Anyone thinks they're 100% that they're going to survive. For sure they're not going to survive. Well, how do I know? You look at the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Kodesh Kodeshim, the entire oral Torah comes from Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. On his deathbed, he says, I don't know if I'm going to Gan Eden, I don't know if I'm going to Gehinom. He doesn't know. You think you know. He doesn't know. David HaMelech did not know if he's going to Gan Eden or Gehenom. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know if he's going to Gan Eden or Gehenom. Moshe Rabbeinu saw Gehenom, started shaking uncontrollably. Said, Hashem, what is this? Hashem said, this is the place I put wicked people. Moshe Rabbeinu started shaking uncontrollably. Only stop shaking when Hashem says, and you will never go there. Moshe Rabbeinu, Isha Elokim, thought he's going to Gehenom. Thought Hashem is showing him his future house. He wasn't sure. You're sure. People are delirious. Not much you have to work on yourself to be sure. So, point is, we have a lot of tshuva to do. I don't want to kill anybody's spirit, but you have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. You have a lot to do. The biggest rabbi in the world has a lot to do. Everybody has a lot to do. The bigger you are, the more is expected from you. So, when a person understands his obligation in the world, he understands that Mashiach is a wonderful thing that when eventually it happens, if you're on the good side. So how can you get yourself on that good side? Start today. Start getting yourself ready today. Start learning today. Start doing mitzvot today. Start fixing your character traits today. Start doing something today. And then again tomorrow. And then again the next day. And you mess up, get up, do tshuva, say I'm sorry Hashem, start again. Every day do tshuva. Every day fix something. Every single day. Just like you have to breathe every day, do tshuva every day. Learn Torah every day. That way you're putting yourself in a good situation. That way you're putting yourself in a wonderful situation. Why? Because at the very least, even if a person deserves punishment, as long as he's done tshuva, Hashem will not destroy him. Hashem will save him. Hashem will take care of him. But if a person thinks that they're okay, no, I'm fine, Rabbi. I'm okay. I keep Shabbos. I'm fine. That person is in very serious trouble. Why? Probably he thinks he's so okay, he doesn't have to do tshuva. That's a very serious problem to have. It's like having cancer but not knowing. Anything else? Joshua, can you do me a favor and Joshua, can you turn on the battery behind the phone? Because it's dying. Just the little switch thingy. Raise it. No, behind the phone, top.
Right here?
On the phone itself,
Yeah.
there's a little button.
Right on the bottom here?
There's on the back of the phone.
Okay.
On the white part.
Right there.
Oh, right there.
Right there.
Okay,
Wait, there's a button on the top and then
just one button.
to the
Just
bottom.
switch it to the bottom. There's only one button there, guys. 3 people.
Just switch on the bottom. Switch. Or the button.
You moved it? Shtabach Shimo. That's it. Finished. Go sit down.
It's
Just don't worry.
there's
Just
no battery.
don't worry. It's okay. Next. We're almost finished, guys. Gotta go. No, it's long.
How were the 3,000 laws forgotten? Moses had?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. Gemara says, I believe it's Sanhedrin. Don't quote me on the Gemara, but it's in Gemara. Before Moshe Rabbeinu died, left this world, Moshe Rabbeinu came to Yeshua ben Nun, and he says, Yeshua, ask me whatever you want. And Yeshua ben Nun says to him, my master, Rabbi, have I ever left your side? You even wrote about me in the Torah itself. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote in the Sefer Dvarim, in the book of Deuteronomy, that Yeshua never left the oil, meaning he never left the camp of Moshe. He was always waiting for him outside. At Mount Sinai, he didn't stay with everybody else. He was on top of it. They're waiting for Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Why are you waiting for their 40 days, 40 nights? Because I'll be able to see Moshe 2 minutes before everybody else. 2 minutes before everybody else, I'll be able. So what? You're going to go there, camp on the mountain, by yourself, dangerous, no food, no nothing, for 40 days, 40 nights, just to see Moshe Rabbeinu for 2 minutes? Yes. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu called Yeshua ben Nun Nar. Nar means someone young. But Yeshua ben Nun wasn't young, he was old. How come he calls him Nar? He says because he's like, Yeshua ben Nun loved the Torah, he was like a young kid, like a baby. That's why he was Nar. And that's why Hashem chose him to be the next Gedol Hador, the next Manhig for Am Yisrael. But when Moshe Rabbeinu asked Yeshua ben Nun, ask me any question you have, Yeshua ben Nun says, I never left your side. Why would I have any questions? It was a mistake. Moshe was hurt. Moshe was hurt that he didn't have any questions for him. Moshe was hurt that he didn't have any more questions for him, and he didn't realize that there's always more questions. There's always more toiling in the Torah. There's always more to have. There's always more stories you can get from the Rabbi. There's always more help you can get from the Rabbi. And better yet, you ask me more questions, I'm going to live for longer. So he didn't ask him questions. So the Gemara says, in that moment, because Moshe was upset, Hashem punished Yoshua, and he forgot 300 laws from the Torah. 300 laws from the Torah that caused 700 machlokets. Pretty much disaster. To the extent that it says in the Tanakh, Am Yisrael, the Jews, wanted to kill Yoshua ben Nun. It says, you're the Gadol Hador, give us the answer for these. What happened to these? Give us the answers. You're the Nasi, you're the everything. What do you mean you don't know? How do you not know? They wanted to kill him. And it took almost 1,000 years, I believe, for one of the tzaddikim to actually toil in the Torah and actually rediscover those laws, rediscover those answers. But it was all because of his minor mistake of not asking questions when he could, when he should. That's how it happened. Anything else? Good enough? Okay, B'ezrat Hashem. Thank you very much for learning with me. B'ezrat Hashem, on Sunday I'm here, but then I'm going to be in Canada for a few days doing some shiurim in Montreal. And so I'm not going to, Sundays I'll be here, and then the rest of the week there's not going to be any shiurim. There's going to be on the internet, B'ezrat Hashem, but not here live. And then there's going to be a New York trip a week after, but I think I'll see you once again. I think I'll see you the following Sunday again. So just make sure you follow the WhatsApp or the Facebook group or the website calendar to know when I'm here, when I'm not, because I have 2 trips, one to Montreal and one to New York, B'ezrat Hashem, to do a few big events over there, B'ezrat Hashem. Thank you again for learning with me. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.